welcome to the Shadowverse Open, NGE Shadowverse Open. Oh my god, oh my goodness. We're getting real excited up in here.
It's so hype in here, man.
Oh my gosh. I'm Rainey.
I'm Sterling, and this is the very first week of the NGE Shadowverse Open. We've got 10 weeks of tournaments leading up to the playoffs and the finals 10 weeks from now. Oh man, I'm excited.
I'm really excited. So, 10 weeks of regular season, as you mentioned, 2 weeks of playoffs where players can earn, have a chance at a $10,000 prize pool. $4,000 for first, $2,000 for second. I nearly forgot. Oh my god, my brain is just
You've been
farting.
working so hard to remember.
Third and fourth is $1,000 each, and then $500 for fifth through eighth. So there's a lot on the line here, and that's not all you can win. The winner of the playoffs, Grand Champion Flair, is his earning there. And then, of course, we're also going to be keeping track of their points on the leaderboard. So the top points earner is going to be the Season 1 MVP. There is our season format. We're currently in the open entry phase. Weekly, we're going to have tournaments open to North American players, and the winners will receive a direct invite to the playoffs, and people who place in the top 16 positions of the tournament will also receive points on the leaderboard. And as we approach playoffs phase 1, 16 players are going to be gathered, both from the 10 direct invites as well as 6 other leaderboard invites to make up those playoff participants there. Of course, there are prizes that you earn
That's right.
for winning the weekly tournaments.
Along the way, first prize earns 30,000 red vials today, a unique flair, and also a direct invite to the playoffs. So you get first place, you immediately get invited to the playoffs at the end. Second place today, 10,000 red vials. Third and fourth, 5,000 red vials, and a flair for all participants.
That's emblem for
an
all
emblem.
participants.
Excuse me, an emblem.
An emblem for all participants. The flair is only for the winners. Only the first place finishers, the weekly tournaments, leaderboard, and the playoffs will get flares. So I'm super excited for the day, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what these players have in store. If you want to participate in the NGE Shadowverse Open, make sure you head over to our website, shadowverse.nge.io. You can get all the information about when the tournaments are happening, what the rule set is, how to join, even if you want to figure out the schedule of how you can watch the tournament. All that is going to be on that website. If you want to communicate, talk, hang out, do fan mail stuff, send us your comments about, hey, I think that Heavenly Aegis is a perfect obstruction of whatever you want to kind of hold things in place. It can't be destroyed, can't be banished, nothing can be done to it.
Or you could just summon Zeus, go for face.
Yeah. You can talk about it on Twitter, @WatchNGE. Go ahead and send us whatever you want to talk about.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Shadowverse, Shadowverse Open, JCG related, deck related.
Sterling's a really good looking guy.
Definitely do not lie to us. I'm warning you right now. Do not lie to us.
Because we'll know.
We'll know.
We were talking a bit in the pre-show about some of the decks that the North American players are playing versus the decks that we see in the JCG. And there's a slight difference. Something specific I wanted to bring up and ask you about was how little we're seeing Bloodcraft now.
Absolutely.
Bloodcraft used to... Aggro Blood was, at one point, I remember it had the highest win rate. At least in, maybe not in tournament settings, but in ranked matches, Aggro Blood had the highest win rate. And now we're seeing maybe a 5% play rate in tournament settings.
Yeah, the expansion really changed up the matchup for Bloodcraft a lot, and I think that it's in an interesting time. I think players are experimenting a lot, and players are really looking for what options would kind of be more valuable to them, more consistent to them. So we'll see as the meta settles. I mean, I feel like that was kind of the case for Bloodcraft for Rage of Bahamut. It was a while before it spun up. So I think that is kind of a point to watch out for, and I wonder if today we're going to be seeing some of that. So I think we're getting into our first game, and we should be ready to go here. And it's going to be, I believe, a round of 16 match, as we still haven't made it to the round of 8.
Oh, interesting.
And once we get there, we're going to show you guys the expanded bracket to see who all has made it past that point. 200 plus players have participated, and like we said in the pre-show, single elim is tough.
Very tough. You can get knocked out right away, but the beauty of this, the Shadowverse Open, is that you can come back next week, constantly earning points, constantly have a chance to earn prizes. And that's what I love about this tournament.
All right, so we're going to be jumping into the game here. Ooh, look
We've
at that.
got Bandori and Omega.
There it is. Swordcraft versus Dragoncraft. So, shouldn't be surprised about the Dragoncraft, but this is what we were talking about. Swordcraft in the West seems incredibly popular. Ooh, got a mulligan both of those.
Definitely. Yeah, Swordcraft has a 58% win rate, I think, as you were saying. So very interesting to see how this, I'm assuming a mid-range sword deck can stack up against this Dragoncraft deck. That's going to be ramping up, trying to get those high-cost followers out as quick as possible.
Take a look at the opening hand for the Dragoncraft player. He's only got Ayla. He's probably going to want to draw. He's got Sybil, but doesn't have those two-play point, that two-play point. I mean, you really want to make sure that you're ramping up as quickly as you can. He has a lot of late game options. He's got Forte, Lucifer, Grimner.
He does have 2 options to ramp with Aelia and Sybil, so I'd consider that a pretty good place to be.
Yep. Okay. Opts to take down Ayla, giving the Dragoncraft player 5 play points to play with on this turn. So he's kind of accelerated ahead. Meanwhile, we see that, oh, we were just talking about this, man. Gawain.
I said that maybe we'd never see Gwaine today. That's what I said. And the first game in round of 16, Gwaine the Rock Johnson comes out in the hand.
The Rock, what? What's happening? Gawain the Rock, there he is.
He's got the Evo point. He's going to subtract 1 point from Amelia and Albert in his hand. Those cards are going to be cheaper to send out on the battlefield.
We'll see. Very aggressive evolution spend here for Bandori, especially considering that Bandori went first, so you only have 2 points to play with. There's only 1 point left. That's going to be pretty valuable for him, I feel like, in the late game if he wants to go for any kind of Albert play. Meanwhile, though, Dragon is still kind of ramping up. He's just hit 7, so maybe Sahak can be a play next turn. But depending on how well this kind of next 2 turns goes for the Swordcraft player, I think we're going to be looking for an interesting game here. But I feel like Dragoncraft is looking pretty comfortable right now. Swordcraft hasn't put out a lot of damage to face. I don't know if Gawain can really stand up to Dragoncraft's late game pressure.
What a cost-efficient whole sword swing right there, being able to take Sybil off the battlefield. Sahak followed by a Lucifer could be a great play here, or maybe evolving Lucifer, getting that 4 damage to face, and having a follower with 9 attack on the field. That would be a solid play right now.
There's not too much on the field that I feel like Bandori can play right now, especially because he mulliganed the 2 Tsubakis, which I think normally is kind of a great choice, just because you would ideally want some better early game pressure. But looking at his deck, it doesn't seem like it's too early game oriented, right? You've got a lot of mid kind of 3, 4, 5 cost cards, and there wasn't really a lot of aggression. There was no quick later, there was no novice trooper kind of thing.
That's definitely what we're seeing more of. It's less of quick blader into wards and fencers trying to buff up your followers and get that early damage off. It's much more focused on high-cost commanders and buffing them up in the later turns of the game. But when you get in those later turns of the game, Dragoncraft, in this instance, I feel like would have the advantage. That's exactly what Dragoncraft wants.
All right, so he played the Maid Leader and picked up another Aurelia, but I don't think there's going to be necessarily a ton of followers on the side of the board for Omega, but just big, huge followers. And I feel like this is getting real dangerous. You play Sahak, and you have a lot of really good options here. There's also just straight playing Fortes for Storm and an Evolution Orb. I really think you're going to want to consider some removal options right about now.
Getting the ward from Gelt is obviously really nice, and he's got the perfect amount of damage to take out Lucifer, which is absolutely the thing you want to do in this case.
Leaving himself with a ward is actually really important as well. Oh god, the Ouroboros Pool.
Oh, one of my favorite new cards.
This is going to be tough too because there's not really going to be a great banish option here, and every time you drop Ouroboros, you're already just getting 3 direct damage that you can use to remove stuff or do face damage.
And gaining 3 health whenever it's destroyed. And it gets sent right back to your hand. What a powerful card. Unless Bandori is running Odin, which I doubt that would happen.
Here comes the next Gawain, and we're hitting that 9 play point mark, and that means you can play the Enhanced Albert. No Evolution Orbs in hand, but there's still just 19 health left on the table for Omega. it's, I don't know. Oh my god, and look at his hand, man.
That is a stacked hand. 3 Fortes, 2 Bahamut's, Ouroboros, and Sahak Whale.
Oh my
Because he's got
gosh.
2 Bahamut's in hand, I wouldn't shirk away at the thought of if he played the card right now, just to put that massive pressure on the board with with having such a strong follower. That kind
No,
of forces.
I would assume the big thing here for Omega too is he has to wonder if there's, I mean, he wouldn't know, but there could perhaps be a Tsubaki in hand, right? And so the earlier you commit your Bahamut, you know, Tsubaki kind of is
That's
the,
true. That's true.
the go-to answer in that scenario. And so maybe that's some of the hesitance we see here, but
And also because of how much health Omega has, it prevents Bandori from playing Levin next turn and going for face damage, because he knows that's going to be 13 damage plus 3 from the Ouroboros that he knows is in his hand, and that's game ending right there.
he's gonna play the ward. Now something interesting here is if you do manage to chew through 13 health points of Bahamut, or you just go face, I actually, there's no world where you can trade face with Bahamut in this situation, I feel like. And
this
you
looks to
have
be-
Grimner for 10 that can do 4 to all units on all enemy units on the board, but he's just gonna use it to get the ward, and I think that's a smart choice because
Having 2 wards. Omega would have had lethal if he evolved Ouroboros, done 3 damage to face with the ability, attacked the ward, and then gone face with Bahamut. That would have done it. But having 2 wards on the side of Bandori definitely negates that strategy.
The other thing to notice too is that so far Omega hasn't run into any Wind Reader Zell, and that's going to allow him to put Storm onto any of these big drops that he might have playing Sahak and Zell at the same time.
That's probably what he's saving the last evolution point for.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. There's a Sahak. Bahamut comes in and doesn't wipe the board. He has a rush on it. Gonna evolve Sahak to do double clear and swing for face on Bahamut, I believe.
That's what I would assume. Getting clear of those wards and that 13 damage is just not something to be taken lightly.
Oh, God. 3 health remaining. There's still 2 Aurelias and an Alwidas. More wards on the way, and Evolution Orb is done.
Unless Bandori can heal himself, wards are not going to mean anything
Yeah.
because he's got Ouroboros in hand. That's 3 damage directly to the leader.
Yeah, that's very true. So, I think Bandori has been back to the corner here, and man, Dragoncraft is pretty good.
Dragoncraft is great. We've seen it a few times. Getting wards on the field is great.
It's so unfortunate in my mind. I mean, you mulligan the 2 Tsubakis, which I feel like is the right move, right? I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't really know what the deck Bandori is playing is. And, you know, against Dragoncraft, you would have to imagine that eventually you're going to have to face big bodies. But still, you didn't draw into any of those options as well, and that kind of, that really hurts. You got Bahamut on the table already, and you Sahak get another Bahamut out.
It was
Loss
a
of
real
words.
difficult position, the corner that Swordcraft was backed into right there.
Yeah. Maybe I almost wonder, playing a Gawain Swordcraft deck, we talked about this a little bit, but even though you're reducing the cost of Albert a little bit, because of his enhanced cost, you're, I think, not getting as much value as you would like. I mean,
Gawain
he's a
doesn't
pretty
affect the
good-
enhanced cost.
He's a pretty good Storm card on his own.
Right.
And I feel like, okay, so Bandori is going to run with Swordcraft as well. He's a pretty good Storm card on his own, but you really, I think, gain the most value out of getting that double strike off of him. And so even when
Absolutely.
you're playing Gawain and swinging and reducing his cost, it just doesn't quite feel as clean.
Omega takes the series 1-0 and switches over to his Shadowcraft deck. Bandori sticking with the Swordcraft deck. Knowing that Omega would be switching over to his secondary deck, I think it was the right choice sticking with mid-range. I think Sword can do some devilish damage to Shadowcraft in this scenario.
All right, well, here we have it. The good old Shadowcraft got double Shadow Reapers just sitting and waiting. And we talked about this a little bit, but Prince Catacomb is a card that you have to talk about, I think, right now. Prince Catacomb, Shadow Reaper, Cerberus, all of that good stuff. Oh my gosh, 2 Lirials on the table now for Bandori, but Evolution Orb's not available. I don't think he really is looking to evolve those things, but I think he's in an interesting spot. Alweda's is really going to help mitigate the damage and keep putting face onto Omega. And the fact that board control is pretty handily in Bandori's favor right now, I think is a good sign.
We see Lirial a lot. I've tried using it, and I've seen it used, and it's obviously a very powerful card, but to get the full
That's my
effect
pin.
out of it. Wind God?
Yep.
That is your pin, no way.
That's my pin.
Wind God in an aggro shadow deck, what a great combination. Being able to give the +1 attack as soon as Wind God is as soon as Wind God is summoned to the skeletons that you're undoubtedly going to have.
All right, gonna ping one to face. Makes a lot of sense. There we go. Spends the Evolution Orb to try to grab board control back. We're at about 5 play points now. And I think there's just not really a comfortable... Grimdor is going to come out for the ward option here and going to trade the Evolution Orb to kind of secure it back. But now we're playing the back and forth game, right? Where you evolve, I evolve, we all evolve. And at a certain point, you're going to run dry on orbs because you go first. What's the plan here?
Skeleton Fighter gains 1/1 for a shadow point. Lesser Mummy would not gain Storm because you don't have 4 shadows. So the ward is still going to be up there.
He might trade. I mean, if he trades and it dies, then he gets the... he does get the shadow.
He does have the shadow point, that's correct.
But he did have to spend that evolve, so again.
And that's +1/1 to the Shadow Reaper.
Shadow Reaper is eating his veggies, getting nice and strong, you know.
Great choice of play right there, putting even more momentum and chipping away more health from Bandori. Alweda's Command, such a great card for Swordcraft. Getting a ward and a follower with Storm on your side of the field cannot be understated.
I feel like not really a comfortable way to trade here. You've got 3 damage on that Viking, but if you try to trade with the Mummy, you lose your Viking. And okay, he will end up trading the Evolve Orb with the Pirate to give it Rush and perhaps take down the Mummy, but you're still increasing that Shadow Reaper's damage by 1, and so he's at least going to swing for 3 for the face, and he has a handful of options to extend that. Orthrus, let's get drawn there. Oh boy, that ain't so random. There's just one other. I wonder who that will go to. There it is. Got a 5/3 Shadow Reaper.
There's the last evolve point coming down for both players, spinning it on Orthrus. Gonna make the Shadow Reapers even more powerful.
Oh my gosh.
6 damage.
Yeah, wow. And all the Evolution Orbs of this game are out now.
Bandori's gonna have to play the board clear game. There it is. Tsubaki. Excellent play.
That Shadow Reaper is getting buffed. And remember, there's Wind God in hand, so there could be some surprise face damage here coming in just a bit. But board control is pretty handily in the favor of Bandori.
Absolutely, and Skull Beast, not the card that Omega was hoping for at this stage in the game.
He needs to clear the board. Albert comes down with Storm, and you're going to be in a bad spot if that happens. Oh, God. Oh, God. I don't think... Well, he kind of drew himself out of options. There it is. Oh!
Angel of the Word. 1 point of damage. That brings the series to 1-1.
Angel of the
versus
Word
Omega.
For the killing blow. Oh, my God. I guess it was the fastest way of doing it, because if you play Albert, then he gets the stupid that thing, and then
yeah, you've got to click on the follower, drag the mouse. It's so much work. I mean,
Sky Knight's something, you know, whatever he says. You know, every time I see him come down, I get really mad.
You just get like steaming, and then your hearing just blocks out whatever he says. Yeah.
That's so the Swordcraft does take a win actually, so they're going to be 1-1 now. So they have to go to one final match. The Shadowcraft deck has to be played again. We saw no Prince Catacomb. We saw just the Shadow Reapers getting real buff, but got removed by Tsubaki right at the crucial moment there. And I feel like that efficiency in board clear was just enough for Bandori to kind of, despite the fact that he was going first in the evolution trade, come out on top with board control.
All right, this is going to be aggro Shadow into neutral ramp Dragon, I'm assuming. I'm going to have to give my vote over to Shadowcraft. I think it's going to be too much for the neutral ramp to handle. As he's ramping up, trying to gain those play orbs, he's not clearing the board.
An interesting statistic for Shadowcraft for both the Japanese region as well as the Western region. A lot of players right now are playing Shadowcraft. An incredible amount, in fact.
A lot.
A lot of players are playing it.
It's over 50%.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily that Shadowcraft is doing super successful. I mean, it had an under 50% win rate in the West, and in Japan as well, it wasn't seeing astounding success as you would find from Forestcraft as well as Dragoncraft, which is interesting to me because people are really, really pioneering and saying, you know, they're really kind of supporting the Shadowcraft aggro deck. And perhaps it's just by its frequency of play that the Shadowcraft decks are losing to themselves, but I guess that would make the statistic kind of
interesting. It could be that as time goes on, players will slowly figure out what Shadowcraft is all about with this aggro deck, figure out how to beat it, how to counter it, and maybe we'll see a shift over to Blood. Maybe that will take its spot.
All right. Well, in terms of a draw, it's looking fairly similar right now, and Dragoncraft has a ton of stuff on the table.
Still, he's not going to be able to clear those two Mushushus, and an evolve. I'm assuming. We'll see what he does with his hand. And the evolve point coming out next turn for Bandori is going to be nasty if those Mushushus get +2/+2 each. It's going to be a bit of a handful.
All right, 2 skeletons. Gonna go ahead and evolve one of them. Gonna give it the rush. Oh my god. Oh my god, of course.
That's right, gains +2/+2 each time, anytime a follower is evolved. Either one. Either an ally or an enemy follower.
Lesser Mummy coming down here.
Gonna be able to clear out those two
Storm.
dragons.
That was a great play on the side of Omega.
Definitely wanted to remove those two dragons. Did not want them to ramp up even more and more because there's no cap on that. They'll keep gaining points.
A very scary situation, but look at the amount of aggression this Dragoncraft deck is putting out right now. Just so many low-cost followers. And got the face swing as well.
And next turn, Forte is in hand. This is not at all the deck I was expecting to see from a Dragoncraft player, at least this early into the Tempest of the Gods release. We've seen the neutral ramp being so popular. But it's refreshing to see a new kind of deck that we haven't seen before, an aggro dragon deck. Cerberus is in hand for Omega, going to be able to get Coco and Minnie in hand. But still, they've got Grimnir to deal with, one ward. It's going to be difficult to really make any use. Bone Chimera evolving is going to trade wonderfully into that Grimnir.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to take down the ward, treat out, and 5 damage on the table can be evolved to 7 plus a Forte on the Storm. Oh! Oh, God.
That's
Storm.
nasty.
Storm is pretty good.
Storm is great, and that's going to be the series 2-1 going over to the favor of Bandori.
Yeah. Storm is probably the hero of the series, I feel like. At both times, I think it just came down to lots of face pressure on Bandori's side, both on his on his Swordcraft deck as well as his Dragoncraft deck. Played 2 similar ways. It's actually kind of refreshing to see a Dragoncraft not really ramp up and try to play the big cards. But at the same time, continues the journey of Storm in
Yeah,
Shadowverse.
the aggro deck is really fun. Getting those kills off of Forte, as we saw, that's a very satisfying play to make.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to go ahead and check on some of the updates here for how we are doing in our tournament.
Awesome.
Figure out at what point we are at.
And that was a round of 6 team game that we saw. We still have the full round of 8 in the semifinals going into the finals. Remember, first prize today is going to take home 30,000 vials. Second place, 10,000 vials. Third and fourth, 5,000 vials. Doing the math, 30,000 vials I think comes out to 8 or 9 legendary followers. And aside from the emblem, which is really cool, and the direct invite to the playoffs, which is obviously most important, getting to make those cards. I mean, like that's what the game is all about. Is being able to create new decks constantly and try out new meta things, like Aggro Dragon, if that's something you want to try out.
Yeah, Aggro Dragon. I don't know if I want to, because right now you have a very good idea. Mostly, if you're playing on ladder, if you see a dragon deck, you're pretty sure that okay, it's probably just gonna ramp up, and it's gonna play big beefy cards.
Right.
But if Aggro Dragon becomes a thing, you start having to think about okay, well now I have to prepare for
that, and it really can take your opponent off guard.
To be fair, I think that particular hand, I don't know if that particular hand was telling. I would have to go back and look at the deck in its full form. Maybe he just got a bunch of his early control, kind of early drops, and was just like, all right, well, we're gonna run with it.
We saw Goblin and Ivory Dragon come out pretty early for the Dragoncraft player. I think Goblin must be the telltale sign. Okay, typically that's not, if you have a 1-cost follower at all, then it might be Ivory Dragon, because you even get the draw from the card later in the game if Overflow is active for you.
Yeah. Ivory Dragon. And 2. Thanks for tuning in to the NGE Shadowverse Open with us. We just finished our first match. Make sure you guys check out our social media at WatchNGE, and you can throw us whatever comments you have.
Feedback,
we're
always open
Dark
for
Angel
feedback.
Olivia.
Or Coco.
That one's Mimi.
That I was talking about this one.
Oh yeah. They can't see. They don't know the true fear. That is. Oh my! There he is. Cut it. We can't show Coco on screen.
That's not allowed. That's against the law.
Coco is dangerous. All right, here we go. MS Sky-sama, round of 16 still against Freedom. He's fighting Freedom.
Freedom.
Mother,
Oh no.
come on.
One of my favorite
All right.
movies.
Freedom comes in the form of Forestcraft, apparently. It's not the worst hand. You're starting out with Elf Child. You got Ancient Elf. Will of the Forest if you need to clear out. And against Shadowcraft, you're probably going to need to clear the board.
Definitely.
That's
Fighter.
the second instance of Wind God that we've seen today. It makes a lot of sense. Oh my god. 2 Crystalia Aerons. Not really what you want to see in this matchup, I feel like.
Definitely not.
I mean, maybe if you make it to that point, but the question is, well, are you going to survive that long?
Impartial Sticks, Unicorn Dancer, Fighter. This is a neutral Shadowcraft deck that we're seeing here. Something I've never seen before, especially in a tournament setting.
Impartial Strix. Look at him. I like the way he folds his arm. Looks very commanding.
It gains a buff each time, or depending on the amount of neutral followers that are in your deck. So
Oh god, he just had to do it.
when you got to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah. That's the worst feeling in the world. You always try to make excuses. Well, maybe 4
it'll
damage
be
to the
worth
face
it,
is not that bad. But you will always regret it. All right, he's got 1 Roach in hand. Got Sylvan Justice that's going to be able to take down a card. But how are you going to deal with the ever so confident Strix? If you have at least 20 neutral cards. +2/+2.
Even if he evolves the elf, that's still only going to be 4 attack damage. He's got Sylvan Justice in his hand. That's going to be 2 damage. Definitely going to use that on the Unicorn Dancer.
Hey, let's play.
Not a
3 and
very
2.
cost-efficient play, but I think the best one that he could have made in this situation.
Oh, he actually is going to leave the Impartial Strix up. So he needs to be a little bit worried if there's a method that Ancient Elf can be removed. Oh, and there it is. Goblin Princess trade in. Won't even die. Will be left with 1 health remaining, and here comes 5 to the face. Oh, God.
What a ruthless neutral deck.
There it is. There's the Elf Queen. We were talking about it a little bit. Elf Queen. Elf Queen and Bolt. I feel like Crystalia Aeron, Elf Queen, Bolt is kind of the go-to play. Whereas before, I think a lot of players were kind of using Fairy Beast.
Powerful, and cute to boot.
Now I feel like it's more
Won't be long now.
focused around kind of the Aeron, Elf Queen,
I'll blow you away.
White Wolf line of play. All right.
Good trade in the sticks. He's gonna elect to keep the Goblin Mage, seeing that he has Roach in his hand. I think that would be the right move to make in this instance.
Yeah. He doesn't have any Nature's Guidance for bounce on that Roach, so it's going to be doing somewhat limited damage. He could opt to use the Roach entirely for board clear, which I would not disagree with because, you know, maybe play to kind of look for later options, but he's got a second Roach now.
That
makes
one
it-
damage is going to take out Fina, and he's still got enough room to play the Goblin King.
Want to play?
Lariel evolved. Fina goes down.
What a nasty board that Sky Sama has got.
Yeah,
It's going to be such a battle to try to clean that.
the 5/5 Goblin King as well is just tough. And here it comes. Is Will of the Force the answer? I mean, there's 11 health on board. Gonna have to get pretty lucky to wipe a significant amount, and there's nothing else you could play if you opted for Will of the Force. So I think he's just gonna have to go with Aaron.
This ends here.
That's
This
going
is
to be
what we were
enough
talking
to...
about. This is what people identify as a strength of picking this card, is that you have that safety of a ward and just good numbers to kind of tide yourself over to extend yourself into the late game safely.
Not to mention the healing you receive.
Mhm.
Especially...
Take special note for the shadows that Forestcraft is building up right now at about 6. So playing Elf Queen on the next turn, full heal, all the way back up to 20.
That's
And
gotta-
you get a 6/6 on the board. Oh boy.
He's got 2 orbs left. That's enough to play Coco and Mini, and a lot of face damage. That's going to be 4 extra damage on top of the 6 that he already has.
Here it comes.
Oh, come on!
Mimi's still in hand. And threatening, very lethal right now. No evolution of orbs on the field. 7 shadows. Crystalia Lily has the enhance, and so you can turn the 4/2 into a 1/1, but even then, opts not to go for the heal. Will of the Forest
Sorry, gotta go.
has to. He has to play the Roach.
Making sure the board stays clear is Freedom's #1 concern, standing at only 9 health when Sky Sama has 8 play orbs
Mhm.
to use this turn.
Dance of Death is an interesting card to draw in this situation as well. When your opponent's health is so low, there's a necessity to play followers to kind of mitigate damage or threaten some kind of counter damage on your own. But playing a follower means you give Dance of Death an option to be played, which guarantees 2 to your face, as well as whatever is coming at you from in terms of just board control.
And it's interesting because I have to keep reminding myself that we can see all the cards that both players have. And what's difficult is trying to think about what is the most effective tactic to use when you don't have any information. What's going on in the player's mind right now?
Yeah. So what's really interesting to think about right now is those shadows. I mean, he's investing, right? Those shadows are building up more and more. It's going to be a 10 health heal. Still going to be healing up to full. He's going to take 1 damage here, so he's going to be a little bit off of it. But 10 health is nothing to laugh at right now. Gets his first silver bolt. So there is a world where he could actually do some face damage here, but he needs to be more concerned about how he's going to tide himself over. There's the Elf Queen, going to spend the shadows.
Freedom knows that Mimi is still in hand, and that's an extra 2 damage that's going to be stacked onto a follower's attack points.
There's no rush available. He could play the Roach and wipe out one of the 2 cards on the table right now. And I think I like this choice. Roach was not going to be a win condition for you. You didn't have very many 0 drops. Nature's Guidance wasn't there as well. You already had to trade 1 Roach. I think just use that to stabilize the board situation and try to figure it out from there. But I feel like it's still really tough. And we do see that Sky Sama has Grimner in hand. An incredible card against, I guess, Forestcraft in particular, just because of the health values of the typical Forestcraft cards.
He's got 6 face damage available to him right now, along with a Silver Bolt if you wanted to get an extra 4 damage, an extra 5 damage, excuse me. That would put him in the lead as far as health points are concerned, but I don't think That would be the best option.
Oh, pulled another Lily. And still has enough to enhance. Can turn one of them to a 1/1. That's a pretty good draw, I feel like, for Freedom.
Definitely, definitely. Freedom can see that Skysuma is on his last legs. He's only got 2 cards in his hand, and he hasn't played any cards so far that have allowed him to draw more cards. So it's safe to assume that the card he's going to draw
got him.
next is not going to give him an extra card. And what a board clear from Freedom. He's got all the tempo in his favor right now, plenty of damage.
And because he traded, it put the Elf Queen exactly at 4, and Grimnir
Put
goes
Skysuma
down.
just where he wanted to be to summon Grimnir and completely clear the board.
All right, the question in my mind is, does that Impartial Strix still have 20 neutral cards in the deck to give it the +2/+2?
He's only got 26 cards left in his deck. 20 of them would have to be neutral followers.
All right, he spent Will of the Forest here. Ow! 4 play points left.
To get the most use out of the Silver Bolt, Freedom's definitely going to want to keep as many cards in his hand as possible.
Didn't have enough neutral cards, but another Cerberus. And that's really dangerous at this point in the game. There's 4 face damage available. That means 5 health left to spend. You're going to need a clear.
And there's no wards in sight. Next turn, Skysuma is going to go for face with all the damage that he's had. The 2 Mimis and the 1 Coco are going to be absolutely nasty, especially with the 3 followers that he's already got on his side of the board.
He has to clear. I mean,
I think he knows that.
you play Lily, you can bounce to try to draw something, but I don't even know if there's a card that exists in Freedom's deck that can save him from this scenario. So now we wait, and now we wait. Freedom is waiting.
Freedom is waiting.
What is your response? Okay, he's just going to go for the fairy and draw, perhaps. He wants to have as much elixir as he can in case of object. Oh, there's a white.
There's the White Wolf.
He would have loved that a few turns ago.
Yeah, definitely. And even still, it's not going to be able to destroy itself.
So he has exactly lethal damage here with Coco and BB in hand. Buff it up. You got to pump him up. You got to swing for face. It's the pits for you, Freedom. Skysuma is going to take the first game here. Shadowcraft prevails.
Exactly the damage that he needed. That's got to feel pretty good. Skysuma 1-0 against Freedom.
Cerberus is such a good card. I feel like with this expansion, it just made so much more sense. I feel like to start throwing Cerberus in there, and I think typically it's been a pretty good card.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just feels like it fits into a lot of what Shadowcraft is planning to do now. It feels comfortable to play as a 5-drop, and Coco and Mimi give you insane value.
And it seemed to work really well with all the low-cost neutral followers that Skysuma was running in his deck. The followers that like Ariel that does 1 damage when you evolve it, and everything like that. All right, we're getting ready to go into game 2. I can't wait to see what decks that Freedom and Skysuma are going to be sticking with.
We'll know in just a moment. Here we go. Forestcraft for Freedom once again, and Dragoncraft. Dragon and Shadow go hand in hand nowadays.
That's definitely right. Grimnir, Draconic Fervor, Ouroboros seems to be a more neutral deck, or the ramp deck.
Oh, you're going to keep? He's going to keep? Okay. Now, that might make sense just in the sense that you're fighting a ramp dragon, or that would be your assumption. But that's tough. Keeping 2 of them? Ward is valuable. It certainly is valuable. Is that the choice
But having
here?
2 6-cost wards.
Yeah. Look at how many turns he's having to pass to a ramp dragon. We'll see if it pays off. Goblin
He has
Mage.
2 Alias in his hand and a Sybil. That's going to be some nasty, nasty ramp. Come the next turn when he plays Alia, and then can evolve it in the turn after that.
You can have the Utica on board as well. Not only just for its healing, but just the 2 damage. Get some board control there. And Ayla is free to swing face.
Sylvan Justice is tempting to clear the follower off the board. Exactly 2 damage.
I'm never an advocate of taking down Ayla on your turn.
Typically, yeah, yes. Typically, it's the most annoying thing as Dragoncraft when that card just stays on the board. When your opponent just, no, I'm not going to destroy it. Just choosing not to, and then you get to turn 9 and it's still on the board. So, oh, great, this is useless.
All right. Oh my God, double Ayla. Oh my gosh. 2 Elf Childs. If he rolls the dice well, he could take down one of them, but even then, you're still building play points for your opponent. So I don't know what the right play here is for Forestcraft. I feel like you're going to get to this point where you have Aaron, but you still don't really have a clear win condition here, and you haven't put any damage to face. Meanwhile, Mr. Dragoncraft here is sitting there with the Genesis Dragon. I mean, he's got some furious. You got Sybil, you got Genesis Dragon, you got Rahab.
Sybil is definitely a staple of the neutral ramp deck nowadays. At the end of your turn, getting to restore 3 health to yourself. I mean, there's no comparable. There's no compromise to that. It's just such a good
give
card.
him the play points. He's okay. He's boosted up to 7 here. And a Bahama gets drawn as well.
There's a win condition.
8. So on the next turn, Dragoncraft is going to have 9 to spend. The Evolve to try to take control. And the fact that Dragoncraft went second and has the 3 Evolve Orbs rather than just 2, that's going to be real tough to deal with. Look at how many cards. Look at how many cards
Freedom
got in
has
hand.
so many cards in his hand.
Jungle Warden is an interesting card. Will you make it to 10, and will it even matter when you make it to 10? There it is, the double Elf Child. See ya.
By the time Freedom gets to 10 play orbs, Sky Summon will have been there for at least a few turns.
Yeah.
Still on
Only
turn
coming
9.
up on 7 play points here.
Yeah,
Freedom is.
yeah, and still on turn 9, Sky Summon doesn't have a definitive move. Rahab getting the extra attack points is great, I think.
Freedom is being threatened.
Freedom is being threatened.
Sterling. Can we sit by and watch this in the North American Open? I don't know. Oh my God, it's 5-5.
And remember, after it's not just a fanfare ability. At the end of your turn, it gains attack points based on your remaining play orbs, and that's after each turn it stays on the board. So next turn, it would gain 10 attack if you just didn't play anything.
We'll
So,
see.
A very formidable card that Dragoncraft has in its arsenal.
I don't know. I feel like actually Tia, or sorry, not Tia, Lily is a very valuable card right now for Freedom. It's the best way to kind of mitigate anything scary you have. We'll spend it on the Rahab. Rahab. Evolve onto Lily.
He could clear the board if he wanted to, and then that would be the end of that, or summon a fairy just to get some follower on the board. He's got to know that Buhaman is coming right on turn 10, though.
Oh God. That's 9 damage to face. This game is going to close itself off real quick here.
Real quick.
Okay. You have Ward. And Bahamut is going to wipe out your Genesis Dragon, so that's not really... You could swing with Genesis Dragon and the Bahamut, maybe?
And
Or just
Breath of the
swing.
Salamander only having 5 damage is not going to be enough to take out that ward.
Yep. Is Aaron going to be the hero? The hero to save all. Gains back 1 Evolution Orb, which is actually really, really key right now, because you really want to be able to wipe the board. If Storm doesn't kill you...
One Evolution Orb can completely change the face of a game and put the tempo back in your favor. So having that is absolutely necessary for this win that's going to come up for Freedom.
Wind
if
Reader
he
Zell
can pull it
available.
off. But no evolution points.
No evolution points. We'll see.
Stop.
All right. Ancient Elf. Too little, too late. Too little, too late, I feel. The ward is still valuable. Ward is still valuable and slowly healing up by Aaron. And so finally the double Aaron on the mulligan coming into play here right at the end. And this is what we were talking about in that similar situation where we saw the 2 Tsubakis being thrown away against Dragoncraft. We were talking about how, hey, you know, maybe if you were playing against Dragoncraft Ramp, it might be worth it to keep these 2 cards around because you know you're going to get to that point. Right. Enough turns are going to pass. that you can start playing those, and you know that Dragon Craft is going to have big bodies. 9 damage to face. There it is. The jungle wardens
The
are
Jungle
ready.
Warden, we're going to see what it's going to do here.
The jungle wardens are ready.
Does it have enough to change?
I don't know if that's a play, but they're ready. I mean, you're going to have to wipe out all 3 of the cards here because anything to the face, well, almost anything to the face plus Ouroboros is not healthy.
It'll still only be 5 damage if Ouroboros activates its ability and Zell or Unicorn Dancer attacks.
There it is.
Ooh.
Okay, he has 2 ward cards up here. So
Very good.
if
Yep.
you... Okay, the situation is going well. It's going well. There it is. 3 damage, takes down one of the wards. Genesis Dragon swings, and now, again, you find yourself back to square one. But a second Jungle Warden is going to be able to wipe the board.
Yes, yes, yes. And Genesis Dragon has been attacking so much that it's been chipped away to only 3 health now.
Only 3 health. I can't believe... if Jungle
Freedom is
Warden-
hanging on.
Jungle Warden. Freedom! The big thing here is Sky-sama is already 1 game up. And Freedom is on the verge of just getting eliminated right now. This is it. Here comes the monkeys. Oh my god, but even if you kill it, it comes back. He chose not to. He doesn't want to get that guaranteed 3 damage. He wants to force it to go through the ward. Oh my god, Siegfried, but there's no damage on the Jungle Warden.
No damage on the jungle. He could attack the Warden. That would destroy it and heal himself for 3, sending Ouroboros back to his hand.
Playing it to get 3.
Playing it to get another 3 damage.
Oh my god, this is just the slowest, most wet noodle death I've ever seen in Shadowverse.
Death by 1,000 cuts. But Freedom is hanging on. Freedom's not out of this game yet. He's building up to a roach combo. He's got 2 roaches in his hand and Nature's Guidance.
There's no 0 drops in sight. You still have the evolution orb too. You can't send Ouroboros back 1 more time and you're done.
He knows that.
There's a feeling you can evolve it for the 0 drop, but how do you do 19 damage with a roach combo? I mean, you have Fairy Circle, you have Nature's Guidance, 2 of them in fact. My brain doesn't want to do the math right now. I don't think 19 damage is on the table.
I think what it's going to come down to is if he doesn't destroy Ouroboros, he attacks for face. And if you do destroy Ouroboros, it's summoned next turn, and that's 3 damage to your face.
I mean, he needs to just, you know what? Just do it. Here it comes. I actually can't believe he played the Roach as a first card, but got to bounce. Gets the White Wolf. Another Roach. Bounce, maybe. There it is. Very... Oh, he's just going to keep roaching. He's got Evolve in the last one. Oh my god, it's 6, it's 8! Duh! Nope.
Very close. Oh,
I lost.
2 health off. Freedom respectfully bows out. Well played. GG.
You know, I'm sure there are a lot of people in chat right now. They're just the PTSD of fighting Roach, and they're just like super ecstatic that just happened. But maybe I'm biased as a Forestcraft player, but when I see that, there's something that... Ouroboros healed for 3 health, and that 3 health could have been the difference maker, man. Ouroboros is a pretty good card. It's
Pretty good? It's great. It's a
pretty
great card.
good. Oh my god. And how do you banish... How do you remove that as Forestcraft?
Odin.
Yeah, you're
That's how
right.
you do it.
Okay, you're right. You know, fair enough.
But even for decks like Havencraft that have easy banishing capabilities with Breach of the Cudgel, it's limited to followers with 3 defense. Ouroboros has 4 defense. So obviously, if you attack it for 1 or 2 damage, takes it down to enough to banish it. But it's tough.
Today, Freedom falls. Freedom falls today. And that's... Sometimes you just got to see them go. So Shadowcraft and Dragoncraft will prevail, and that's kind of just as planned, as they would say, just as Keikaku means planned. So I think it's gonna be an interesting moment here. I feel like Shadowcraft and Dragoncraft moving into the round of 8 is kind of expected.
Mhm.
The Shadowcraft, I'm still thinking about that statistic. You know, what does it really mean? How are the Shadowcraft decks losing? Is it Shadowcraft losing to Dragoncraft eventually, you know, but everybody's still playing Shadowcraft as their alternate deck, so...
Right.
You know, I'm still thinking about that stat, but I'm not a very smart person, so oftentimes they don't really make much sense to me.
And when we're talking about Dragoncraft having this win rate, that win rate, we've seen different strategies, completely different decks come out from Shadowcraft and Dragoncraft. Neutral, low-cost neutral Shadow and aggro Dragon. There's a lot of different things going on with respect to those numbers and those percentages. It's really complicated. Really complicated.
Hey, they're too small for you to see, but this is what we were talking about. Side Games was kind enough to get us some nifty little pins.
I'm gonna wear this normally.
Just when you
Just
go
'cause.
into
It's cool.
fast food restaurants, oh, Lucifer.
That Lucifer is so cool, man.
Yeah.
I
Every
know.
time you're having a conversation, they just see you heal as you... Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm doing fine, heal.
Or damage to them if I'm evolved.
You're that kind of person? Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just walk up to people and just have a conversation with them, and every time they're
And then
about
they
to
just
talk, you just
blow
slap
up.
them once. Just, why'd you do that, man? I don't know. That's, God. You are a scumbag. Don't do that. Keep it as healing. Healing is just a nice positive.
Isn't that the selfish version though? Just yourself healing rather than putting someone else out of their misery. Maybe it's
putting some? That's like some psychopath. That's some.
maybe
psycho stuff,
it's
man.
a horse with a broken leg that I'm talking to
Oh my god.
that I've been friends with for my whole life.
All right. Well, we're about to jump into our next match. I don't want to talk with Sterling anymore. I think I'd rather jump into this next game here. I believe we're approaching the conclusion of the round of 16. Mango, who is the taker of two,
Bow before Dark
against
Dragoon,
SN.
ruler of the skies.
Timmy.
All who
Timmy's the
oppose
name.
shall be
Shadowverse is the
crushed.
game.
Double Dragoncraft. It looks like both of these are going to be ramp decks. This is going to be interesting. A mirror matchup. I wonder if their compositions are exactly the same.
So it seems like there's more kind of, this is slated towards kind of the latter half of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really great, actually, for Timmy, starting out with Dragon Oracle, having Sybil in hand. Another Dragon Oracle.
All three oracles.
Is,
That's a dream. That's never happened.
Mhm.
That's never, ever happened in the history of Dragoncraft.
Well, the big thing here is Sybil actually has to wait until turn 5 for it to do anything. It doesn't have... It's not associated with your play points,
And
right?
with three oracles, by the time you get to 5 play orbs, or by the time you get to overflow, or the 5th turn, you're definitely going to be way past overflow to really gain the full effect.
We'll see. I mean, Dragon Oracle, that's pretty good. Cheaper. Get that play point.
Mhm.
Draw into some options. Even got the Draconic Fervor. Things are going well. Now, over on kind of Mango's side, though,
He does have two options to ramp up himself. Although both of them are 5-cost, Draconic Fervor and Sybil of the Waterworm.
I think it's important what ends up being drawn from the Dragon Oracles. I think that's kind of the key point here for Timmy. Because right now it's great for ramp, but really what do you have in terms of an option? I mean, there's Bahamut in hand, there's Sahagwil in hand for Mango, but what does Timmy have? You actually just have... It's like you're just getting a lot of macro right now. You're getting a lot of economy. But if you don't have anything to buy, what's the point, man? You're sitting on a pile of gold. Nothing worth it to buy.
Lewis Water.
Sybil of the Waterworm. It is. I think her art is so cool.
It is pretty neat. This game is exactly what I expected it to be.
Already at 9 play points.
Already at 9 play points. What an advantage coming out from Timmy. If he could play Grimnir next turn
Water.
with its full effect for Enhanced 10. Draws Bahamut, clears the board. There's plenty of options open for Timmy to win the game, to really bring this to a close. He's been able to ramp up more than Mango has, and I think he's got more options. He's got the
Right.
board clear. He's got followers available to him.
It depends. I mean, Bahamut can be a big tide turner. If Timmy commits a little bit too much and the Bahamut comes down, you're going to be in for a world of hurt.
And Mango already has the perfect Zell combo. He's got Sahagwheel, Bahamut, and Zell. Come turn 10, come turn 9, that's going to be the turn that allows Bahamut to go for face for 13 damage. Not to mention having Sahagwheel and an evolved Zell for 4 attack, 4 defense on your side of the board.
All must come to an end.
All right, Dragon Oracle.
Both players at full health. Mango elected to use Draconic Fervor just to gain those 2 draws. He really wants as many options in his hand as well. Timmy doing the same thing. Both players are hoping to get that perfect combo in their hands.
Lightning Blast. There it is. There it is. The ever so popular. People were really hyped about that card. Lightning Blast. Everybody was all.
The
super
first time
excited.
you read it, I remember the first time I read it, I was like, it was so many emotions. Anger mixed with joy. Oh my gosh, Dragoncraft finally has good banishing and
It
removal
feels like
capabilities.
so long ago that people ever said that about Dragoncraft. But it's not even been, I mean, hardly a week.
Oh, Zell's only going to have 4 attack. He's not going to be able to get rid of Rahab.
Oh, that's... Oh, the Blazing
Oh, there it
Breath.
is, Blazing Breath.
There it is.
I
Yep.
wasn't looking at his hand. I didn't see that card. That is going to be Bahamut going for face for 13 damage.
Saha Bahazel is a tried and true classic of Dragoncraft. And I mean, is there an equivalent here on the side? He just drew into Saha, but You're
Grimnir
gonna
would clear
pull
the
in
board doing 4
Ouroboros?
damage.
I think the options here for Timmy are slightly less effective. There's a lot of cards on the board. I mean, it's very tempting to play something like Grimnir, but you know that Bahamut is there.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you commit at this point, Bahamut's going to remove, which dissuades you from doing some kind of Sahazel combo, because you're just going to lose those 2 cards immediately after.
But Timmy still hasn't drawn Bahamut, and Mango doesn't know that.
Yes.
That could be a crucial advantage that Mango has. An advantage that we're able to see that obviously the players aren't able to see.
Lots of deliberation on Timmy's end. I mean, there's a lot of cards in hand. You have to wonder, you have to assume that all the options are available to your opponent at this point.
That happens a lot as this ramp dragon deck. You're playing cards that allow you to draw cards, Oracle, Fervor, and the like. And you're only playing 1 card per turn for such high cost cards. So you
committed the Evolve.
you find yourself with a lot of cards in hand. And yeah, it's an interesting choice there, playing the Evolve.
There it is. That's that boy.
Do you think
Bahamut.
he was trying to bait out the Bahamut by just spinning the Evolve point?
Perhaps. Oh, he's got
And
the
there's
counter
the
Bahamut.
Counter Bahamut.
I heard you like Bahamut. So I let you play Bahamut so that I could play Bahamut.
Thus, bringing the endless cycle of Bahamuts. It's not endless. There's only 3.
All right. This is such a tough situation. There's so many. The other thing I think for Timmy is that there's so many kind of different ways he could approach the situation, but what is going to be the most effective at this point in time? Because each turn is so important right now.
Each turn could determine the fate of the game. Mango already has a lethal attack. Timmy with only 7 health. Mango with 16 health.
All right, here it comes. He's playing the Ouroboros. Is he gonna
Evolve,
What
and
is the
then
plan?
he's got Breath of the Salamander. That would be 10 attack from Ouroboros, and then 3. That would be enough to clear Bahamut.
He has to, because he certainly can't take that damage to the face.
Absolutely. That's the only option. That's the only option that Timmy has.
It's got a there's a tough hand. I don't think there's necessarily a win option here for. Oh, he's gonna just tap out.
Timmy bows out.
He didn't want to face whatever Mango had in hand, and I would have to agree in some senses. Timmy was in a tough spot. Maybe I just don't have enough foresight to see how that would have played out, but certainly there was a world where you could have enough Storm to close out the match, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Mango's able to play that just a little bit better with the choices he made. Had a great play with Muhammad.
I feel like that's kind of the big danger is, you know, at any point, if you don't have ward protection, if you don't swing first, you fall behind in those health points, and it just gets real tough. Even though you removed, or even though you could technically remove Bahamut, it's already swung, it's already done its damage.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, having the Sahak Wheel Zell combo from Bahamut really, that turn is what was able to give Mango the edge he needed, the health point advantage he needed to eventually win the game.
All right, so first game goes to Mango. We're going to be waiting to see what his alternate deck is going to be. And this is going to be the last round of 16 match.
That's right.
So after this match, we're going to be moving on to the round of 8. And we have, I believe, we're going to try to see if we can get some of those round of 8 matches going so we can push the tournament forward and quickly push toward the semis and close out the evening. Thank you, everybody who participated in the NGE Shadowverse Open. And hopefully, you guys have been talking about it, giving your feedback. A lot of people are reading the feedback here and kind of taking what you guys have said. And
us included.
Yeah.
We love getting feedback and everything like that. We had a huge turnout, 200 plus players submitted to the tournament. Thanks. First of all, that's great.
All right. Jumping back into the game here, Mango with Shadowcrafting. I can't say I'm surprised. Can't say I'm surprised.
Timmy electing to stay with his Dragoncraft deck, his primary deck, I should say, or rather the first deck he chose to go with. And Mango having a great draw, a 1-cost Skull Beast and then a Attendant of Night. That's a card we don't typically see in these aggro decks that we're seeing a lot of.
There's the Skull Beast. Really, I feel like it's a fairly decent opening hand. Necro Assassin is a card that I feel like hasn't necessarily been seen as much in the expansion.
Right, yes.
But still, a very interesting card with some cool synergy that you can coordinate with just the last word effects on.
Oh, definitely. A Necro Assassin into a Lurching Corpse combo is one of my favorites to see. Getting able to clear 2 random followers, especially against Dragoncraft, who typically has one really strong follower. It's a really nasty combo.
Having that Shadow Reaper as well could potentially make a lot of extra damage happen here. All right, Rahab out on the field. We're already at play point 5 for the Dragoncraft player. Zell on hand, but no Sahakwill.
Still got plenty of time to ramp up to that. Plenty of card draws available to him. Let's get that Shadow Reaper off the field.
Good choice.
He still has enough play points to play Breath of the Salamander, clearing Skull Beast or Attendant of Night. Would be hard-pressed to see him. He's trying to weigh his options. He could summon Zell just to get another 2/2 follower on the field, put some more pressure on the map.
Could be an option. Could be an option, but knowing what you have in your future here for a Dragoncraft ramp deck, maybe won't want to commit that.
Right, ending a turn with 2 play points can feel bad. You really want to... Sometimes you feel like you really want to make the most of the play points that you have, but sometimes you don't want to give your opponent an advantage by destroying one of their followers that has last word.
The cards are certainly resources and definitely, I guess in most cases, not refundable upon use.
But he did have Rahab on the field. Getting those attack points has got to make ending your turn like that feel a little bit better. Now he's got a 4/4 follower with ward. That's going to be strong. Still, for Shadow, it's a follower that Attendant of Night can trade into because Attendant of Night cannot attack followers that don't have ward. It can only attack the leader.
Yeah. Ooh, Soul Conversion. Tries to get some more draw out there. Zombie party! There's no party. He didn't have enough play points. No. It's kind of very
No
similar
zombie
to the
party
parties
today.
that I hold.
Your zombie parties?
They say, "Oh, we're having a party," and then nobody shows up.
I would. A bunch of dead people don't show up. Just nobody.
Just nobody.
Nobody.
It's just that's the reality of my life, right there.
Breath of the Salamander would do.
Oh wow, he actually traded in.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh yeah, it was. He opted to trade in so that he could wipe the board. I agree with that. You know, I think
He got the
you're
ramp. He got the extra orb.
Yeah.
Cleared the board. That was a great play.
Yep. Here it is. Probably the most noticeable card I feel like in this expansion right now is Cerberus.
It's definitely a very easy card to play when the board is empty. It's 5 cost, but it only has 3 attack and 3 defense, and no other effect other than the cards that it gives you in your hand.
Sorry, gotta go.
But the big thing here is there doesn't seem to be good board control inside of Mango, so you're not really going to be able to do any kind of face damage. Plus, the Ouroboros out here on the field means that the healing has already begun. And as we saw in previous matches just today, Ouroboros healing can make or break the game.
Changes the entire game.
Mhm.
Still a pretty full hand for Mango. He's got 2 Cocos and Mini. I think that's a Catacomb if I'm looking at the art correctly.
Yes, I believe that is Prince Catacomb there.
2 of them.
Kind of one of the highlight cards here of Shadowcraft so far. Give all allied followers the last word to summon a skeleton when they die.
Has arrived.
And it ends up being incredibly effective, just kind of maintaining board clear. And this is one of the reasons why I think Coco and Mimi are great, because you have board control. You can buff up, give them the 2 extra damage, and all of a sudden a measly little skeleton can look real dangerous.
Absolutely. He's got Grimnir and Zell with 2 evolution points still in his favor.
Playing the Ouroboros again. And the eternal issue of having to deal with that card is that's the real headache.
The cycle is going to continue unless Shadowcraft has an Odin in deck. It's going to be real difficult to get rid of that.
Want to play?
Oh, gonna evolve and buff up Orthrus.
Gotta take what opponents you get.
5 damage here. Gonna go for face.
Leaving him wide open to a 10 damage right from Grimnir would be a great card because it doesn't do 4 total damage. It does 4 damage.
It does 1 damage 4 times.
1 damage 4 times, and that would completely negate the effect that the advantage that Prince of Catacombs has with its ability.
I want to see that happen. I just play Grimnir. Play Grimnir. Let me see. I want to see what happens. Play it.
Oh yeah, I want to see it too, for sure.
It must be so satisfying to watch that. Just oh, he's gonna lightning blast. The last word, nothing. Okay,
There's a
well,
lot more where that's coming
certainly
from.
Grimnir would have given him more damage, but maybe lightning blast was a better option. Just stay away from any kind of weird interactions, and you're still 1 turn away from lethal. So
Absolutely. It's got lethal right now with 1 last attack.
Phantom Howl. Did you know they're coming?
I heard 5 times that they're coming.
They're coming for you. Oh, just still going face. Gonna make space for a thing. Necro Assassin for another thing. There it is. Heals up for 3. This is looking real bad for Shadowcraft.
Absolutely. That was his hand. Timmy's still looking pretty with 7 cards he's going to have next turn.
Ouroboros just give you so much value.
They really do, especially...
He's gonna drop it here. I mean, he could just drop it here and take out Necro Assassin or Grimnir. There's just, I mean, you have just a handful of options and everything just looks like delicious cotton candy.
Everything is the right option. We'll clear the board or do damage to face.
Rob Rose. Yep, he's just going for face.
Sky's my
I don't blame him.
destination.
Give him rush. Give him rush.
Storm.
Storm. Sorry. Give him Storm.
What?
What?
And a Valzel will give
can't
Ouroboros
be.
Storm.
Impossible. Impossible. I think he's waiting for the. Is he waiting for the concede? Is that what's going on? Oh no. I'm very ready. That's pretty good. 8 and 2. Storm, 3 damage from the drop, plus the 8 damage.
And that's going to be Timmy taking the series 1-1. Mango and Timmy both with 1 point. The third game is going to be
Shadowcraft. Mirror.
Shadowcraft. You think so?
I
You
mean,
think
if I
you-
was a betting man, that's what I would.
We could be seeing a Daria Runecraft. What would you say the chances are to that? Not very good. Probably not
Very
good.
low.
Very low.
You'll probably get good odds on it, though. I mean, or rather, you'll, if it is a Daria Runecraft, I would shift the Dark Angel Olivia statue over to your side.
You de-shift the Dark Angel Olivia
oh my
statue.
God, just stop. Game, help!
Get me
Get
out of here! You were right.
Oh, of course I'm right.
I can dream. Can
This is
I?
why the Dark Angel Olivia statue is on my side of the desk.
Right. Well, I'll stay over here with Mimi, and we'll have a party, a zombie party. without you.
Ichtar. How do you read Ichtar?
Ishtar.
Ishtar? Ichtar?
That's how I would say it.
Hector? You should tweet at Watch NGE. How do you pronounce Demon Lord Ishtar?
I'm assuming it's because it's paired with Nephthys. One other Shadowcraft card, Nephthys is an Egyptian god.
Uh-huh.
Ishtar is also
Ishtar?
Ishtar. I
It's also
believe
an
Ishtar
Egyptian-
is also an Egyptian deity of some kind. I'm totally
Egyptian
wrong.
spiritual being.
Someone is so mad at me. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna apologize.
Just
Right now.
You're pre-apologizing.
I don't even know the answer, and I'm apologizing.
Sorry, I backed you into that corner, buddy.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
I welcome the corner.
You live in the corner. The deep, darkest depth of the internet. All right. Lesser Mummy, no Storm. Don't have the Necromancy for that quite yet.
Little Soul Squasher. That card is devastating, being able to destroy an evolved enemy follower. You can feel so safe behind a Goblin Mount Demon with Ward. 5/9 Ward if you evolve it, and then boom, Little Soul Squasher just completely destroys it.
Look, and she's so tiny. Just
Little
that
Soul
thing
Squasher. Yeah.
just squashes your soul.
Very strong card.
We saw it today. There was so many instances where people were just trading evolution orbs back and forth. A card like Little Soul Squasher is an instant way to just end that, right, and just come out on top.
Mhm.
Basically, they spend an orb, you spend your Little Soul Squasher, and you're done. You're
You
done.
do have to have the shadows built up, but 4 shadows is not that high of a cost for some of the shadows that we see. It's not like a Deathly Tyrant or something like that.
Here it is. Here it is.
The-
Sterling, the Prince Catacomb.
The endless skeletons, the skeleton army.
That's a great opening there for Mango. Necromancy
Timmy.
levels are still quite low, but I feel like Mango's about to ramp up right now.
Yeah, Timmy emptied out his hand right there. He's only got 2 cards. He's not going to be able to play Ishtar for another few turns. Phantom Howl it could be a great card next turn, but
The bad thing is these are both so reliant on kind of
shadows.
yeah. Exactly. Do you want to spend your shadows now or some Phantom Howl or later? And that Shadow Reaper is going to be so tough to deal with. I mean, Phantom Howl, for as good of a card that it is, up to 5 things that you'll just feed to the Shadow Reaper.
Mango is definitely in a great spot right now with another Prince Catacomb in hand.
There it is.
He's not going to be able to play it till next turn, but the Shadow Reaper is still ramping up.
Oh my god, Lesser Mummy too. Oh my god, it's 4/4. It's gonna trade more. He's not gonna be able to kill the skeleton. This is bad.
This is real bad. It's real enticing to trade the Skull Beast into the skeleton there, and that's still more attack damage over to the Soul Reaper, Shadow Reaper, excuse me.
The funny thing too is when you take down a 1/1 card, you're basically not even really helping yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just going to give 1 more damage to the Shadow Reaper.
Mhm.
Now, there is a world where, okay, maybe you would want multiple cards for things like AoE damage buff kind of thing, like party-wide
Mhm.
damage buff, or if you want separate targets to evolve, you know. But those are super edge case situations that just don't really apply. Okay, you do it, I do it. We're both going to pump up. They're lifting weights right now. They're both lifting.
Mangoes is a bit stronger with an extra 3 attack and an extra 3 defense.
And able to just swing right now.
Oh, absolutely. But it also doesn't have ambush. So next turn, Phantom Howl could take it out with an evolved Ghost, for example.
You know,
What are you hiding inside?
yeah. That's dangerous. I feel like, and another Prince Catacomb out on the field here. It's getting stronger. It's even the Phantom Howl can't take it out on its own, and the Evolve coming down.
Oh my gosh, she's really putting all his eggs into this Shadow Reaper basket.
It's tough. I mean, I don't see Dance of Death unless there's a top deck right here. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking real bad.
It's looking real bad.
I would not want to be playing this game right now if I was Timmy.
Let's see, what are Timmy's options? Phantom Howl, fill the board with Ghost. He's got 2 damage from the Soul Reaper as is, but remember, when a Ghost is destroyed, it's banished, which does not count to the extra attack boost that Shadow Reaper gives it.
It's, yeah. Here it is. And it's
So
not
the
really going to help because it's only your allied followers when
Right.
they get destroyed that you gain the benefit here. So
So the Shadow Reaper is going to stay at 2/2. But that'll be exactly 8 damage, able to take out that Shadow Reaper.
I feel like he needs to at this point. I mean, you can't just let
You can't leave that on the board.
Yeah. 2 more, then the Reaper in. Because they're all being banished, that poor little Shadow Reaper never got to grow as big as his big brother.
Poor little guy.
Prince Catacomb still got some pretty good board control here. And this is why I feel like Cerberus is such a great card, because imagine the situation with Cerberus, right? Now you have targets to buff up.
Mm-hmm.
You can start swinging for face, and you get that much closer to just closing out the game. Spend an Evolution Orb, get a Coco buff, or a Mimi buff. I forgot which one does. That's the actual 2 damage buff. I think Coco might be the attack damage buff.
I think you're right.
Oh, the Lesser Mummy with Storm.
Mango definitely smells blood in the water. He's trying to close out this game as fast as he can, evolving his mummy, going for face damage.
Angel of the Word, Prince Catacomb. I don't know if there's really an option here. You have an Evolution Orb, but nothing has Ward, and whatever you clear, that Shadow Reaper is just eating it all up.
Mm-hmm. And only enough shadows to summon 1 zombie with Rush.
Yeah, it's over.
Yep.
I think Timmy is, unfortunately, that Shadow Reaper got so much value on Mango's side. And I think that's kind of a common occurrence these days, is seeing Shadow Reapers get real fat.
Yeah, that was definitely the dream Shadow Reaper. Coming out very early, a really great play comboing it with Prince Catacomb. That's the staple aggro Shadow that has been so popular. That's why people love playing it.
Mango will move on to the round of 8, and there we have it, guys. Round of 16 completely cleared out,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
and we're just about ready to go. So, just as a small reminder, guys, if you want to find more details on the NGE Shadowverse Open and you want to participate, read the rules, find out what the broadcast schedule is going to be like, make sure you visit our website, shadowverse.nge.io. There it is.
That's right. You can read the rules. You can sign up. You can, I guess you have to register your deck and things like that. That's all part of the tournament.
Also, make sure that you guys follow us on Twitter @WatchNGE and give us any kind of thoughts you may have on Shadowverse Competitive, JCG, the players, the decks that you see today. All right, let me go ahead and take a look at what our next match is going to be. Meanwhile, let's look at the bracket to see where we are at the tournament right now. Round of 8, Sterling.
We've got Skysama versus Noah. That's going to be the game we watch first. We saw Skysama play in the top 16. Very comparable decks that he's got. Pot Washer at CF versus Wax Donkeys. Ghost Bomb versus CPV Stoltz. And Mango versus Bandori. Interesting, we saw Mango and Bandori play. We've seen both of them play, so we know both of the decks that they've got.
And we've also seen Skysama play, but he's about to have to stab his teammate in the back right now. MS Skysama versus MS Noah.
Interesting.
Betrayal.
Do you think they train together, that they scrim together?
They probably
I'd assume that.
talked decks, talked matchups.
Probably train in the same dojo.
Dojo? We're getting into some martial arts stuff.
I mean, I have a dojo, don't you?
What do you... Oh, you do?
Yes.
Don't lie.
It's
Don't lie, Sterling.
some would call it a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment.
Oh.
I call it a dojo.
Yeah. Do you hang like a wooden placard up above your door and say...
I have curtains that I hang up.
Uh-huh.
Those are something that's hung up.
Great. You big fat liar.
I am an inventor. I'm a storyteller, which means that I lie about things.
There it is. He finally admitted it. All right. All right. MS Noah versus MS Skysama. And,
Mother,
oh.
Father, come
Oh.
on.
And I believe,
must
yes,
die.
so it's going to be Swordcraft versus Shadowcraft. We're going to be looking here. It's going to be 0-0. There it is. Skysama.
Nice to see you.
I feel like Swordcraft is an interesting thing. We did see Swordcraft move forward, I mean, in one of the first matches we saw today. And I continue to wonder what is the difference between the decks that are being run and the playstyles that are being developed in the Japanese region that is causing Swordcraft to be kind of a little more oppressed, whereas it's finding pretty decent footing in the Western region.
That's right, and we've seen another neutral Shadowcraft deck. This is interesting. This is something I was not expecting today.
There it is. The Novice Trooper riding bravely on the horsey. Trooper. Such a great card.
Unicorn Dancer is a great card as well. That's a card we don't see nearly as often, I think.
Oh, he's got 2 of them? How are you ever going to do damage to this guy? That's basically a Lucifer right there.
Yeah, 4 health at the beginning of your turn. As opposed
Obviously,
to 4 health at the end of your turn.
much easier to remove. And I think Skysama is aiming to do that right about now. Floral Fencer Evolve, always a great option. I just feel like the curve has been fairly lenient towards Skysama in this particular game.
Being able to evolve a Floral Fencer right on turn 4 with that first evolve point is the gold standard for Swordcraft. We see that card, Floral Fencer, in just about every single Swordcraft deck, I feel like.
So board control is relatively even. The health is far an advantage for SM Noah, though. But that might also be a byproduct of Noah being able to go first. The Storm is going to help Skysama catch up. Made Leader to try to draw a commander. It's going to be the Luminous Mage, a new card. This expansion. Very useful. You play the Luminous Mage, summon the Luminous
Luminous Knight.
Luminous Knight, and then you can freely evolve other commanders.
Very strong card.
As long as the Luminous Mage stands. So, as long as that card is on the board, free evolves.
Certainly makes that card a target. No doubt.
Made Leader gets taken out by Lyriel. And still more board clear on the way here. The 5/5 Goblin King is also a really good card to have.
What a great turn 6 playing with Lyriel and the Goblin King. 4 and then 2. Evolve for 1 damage, and then you've got a 4/4 follower to attack with. What a great turn 6.
Get all that damage buff. We'll trade out with the Goblin King here. Maybe throw one of the Knights in, and he does. Trades against Lyriel, and again board control, and finally swinging for 3, gonna even up the board.
Definite tempo shift in Skysama's favor. with that play just there.
Again, now this is interesting. Playing the Goblins is really going to aid the Wind God in just kind of making sure that the Wind God gets maximum efficiency. 5 cards on the board with the Wind God included is a lot of extra damage that you get from the Fanfare effect. This has been actually a really interesting trade back and forth here. Just because there's so many cards that are being committed to the table, and it's really about kind of figuring out what the most efficient trade is.
Absolutely. Whether or not to go for face or clear the board, I find those some of the most interesting decisions.
I feel like Swordcraft is really in the advantage in this scenario, though. A second Luminous Mage is making things super difficult. I mean, Swordcraft thrives in this scenario, right? When you're talking about board control, there's so many cards in Swordcraft's arsenal that just says, I play this card and I get 2 other cards with it, you know, or I evolve and all my cards get some kind of benefit here. Wind God is the response. We'll see how this board kind of shapes up.
And that's going to be the last card from Noah's hand. He's burnt
Meanwhile,
out. His deck is out of gas.
Look at how much more Sky Summon has left to go as well. Even just the Albert sitting there, and in 2 turns, 10 damage. And he has a choice to just use Albert to trade out. Especially on the enhanced drop when he just doesn't take damage himself.
Thinking about the trade right now. Is Noah going to trade into followers, go for face? Which followers does he trade into? Destroy Goblin Princess will get Goblin King in his hand. That'll be a great play next turn. Getting another a 5/5 ward on his side of the field is definitely going to help mitigate some of this aggression that's going to be coming on turn 9 with a fully evolved Albert doing its full damage with its 9 enhance ability.
Turn 8 is going to be a little bit awkward, but he's got 2 Genos.
It won't be long now.
Another free evolve point. These mages are really getting their worth.
Yeah. I mean, basically every turn since the first Luminous Mage was played, evolve
Absolutely.
for free. And you're still sitting on 1 orb. It's such a great card. You'll be able to take out the Wind God. And still board control solidly in favor. Shadowcraft now out of options. And I think this was just straight pushing your opponent out of options here. Forcing the trade.
Having more efficient plays. When it comes turn 5, you're using all your play points, really getting the most use out of all their followers. That was key in this matchup, I think.
Sky Knights, prepare for battle.
The enhanced Albert comes down.
It all ends here.
It's a 5 damage, and there it is. It's over.
Darn it all.
That's a solid deck right there. Luminous Mage demonstrated in front of everybody's eyes. And I think Swordcraft is continuing to demonstrate why it's had any amount of success here. I actually think that Luminous Mage, I mean, it just seemed like Noah had a hard time, or rather Sky Sama had a hard time removing it. So, we'll see.
Definitely, definitely.
Swordcraft is now out, so he can't play that deck again.
That's right, that's right. I believe it's a Dragoncraft deck that Skysama has. So we'll see how his... Was it the aggro deck? Was it Skysama that had the aggro dragon deck?
Yeah, I would have to think back a little bit to remember exactly what it is.
Bow before Dark Dragoon, ruler of the skies. Time
Let's see
Right,
what
Radovic gets to.
Skysama...
So Swordcraft is not an option. Bloodcraft is being played right now.
First time we've seen it all day. Looks to be the standard aggro blood deck.
I like this choice from
Greetings. Blood and pain.
yeah, I
Hey
think
there.
Noah, we were talking about how Bloodcraft was kind of one of those classes that didn't really see fantastic success and had kind of the lowest play rate in the Japanese region. And I wonder if that's kind of just the finesse of having to play around that vengeance.
Right, still Belphegor, very comparable card, very powerful card in the Bloodcraft decks. Giving yourself vengeance right off the bat on turn 4. It's playing with fire, that card, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Dragoncraft again, as we've seen so many times before. Really looking to ramp, and this is kind of a tough situation because Bloodcraft can be so aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the decks that can really kind of push Dragoncraft into an uncomfortable spot really quick, unlike many of the other classes.
Right, it's hard to justify ramping
plays
up with
both his
Oracle and
Zells.
Aelia when Bloodcraft is going to be able to do so much damage. And that's both the Zells going on the field.
Mhm. There it is. Vengeance is active. He opts to just pop it right here.
Next turn, the Dark General will have Storm. That'll be another significant amount of damage. Noah's looking to close out this game real fast unless Skysma's got some tricks up his sleeves.
And I think that's the perfect choice here for Noah. He really knows that he wants to either push out the Dragoncraft's options that they would have liked to hold. For example, committing to 2 Zells already at this point. It's definitely not ideal.
But he's got the board in his favor now, with 2 followers on the board. And Noah is still on 10 health from the Belphegor.
We'll have to see how much of a swing Noah will have from activating that Vengeance. And so far, it really seems like the key card that is being held is that Dark General. Thinking a little bit about the play. Demonic Strike in hand as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just straight 3 damage.
Dark General doing the storm damage right to face with Evolve. That's 6 damage right there. That's... That'll put Skysma at 6 health. Still a lot of options. And then Enabling Wraith after that will do 1 damage to himself and then 1 damage. That'll put Skysma at 5 health.
The bigger question here is Skysma has 2 options to play. One is Sybil, one is Bahamut.
Mm-hmm.
Both not super comfortable. And is that really going to secure very solid board control for you?
Right.
There's a Dark General coming down.
Still the 3 health. Getting healed for 3 at the end of your turn playing Sybil. That has got to come in handy. Every health point is going to matter at this stage in the game.
Wow, he just went for face. So board clear is definitely a thing here. Gets a second Sybil as well, so that means for this turn and the next turn, has the option to get that healing to kind of tide Skysama over until he can get to Bahamut, perhaps.
He's most likely going to evolve and trade into the Dark General. That's going to leave Sybil still alive.
May as well swing with the Zell. Vengeance is already active. There it is, just barely surviving the onslaught. Just remember, Demonic Strike is still a very real thing. As we get to 8 play points, 6 damage to the face, you only need to find some way to do 2 damage more.
He's going to have to spend an evolve point if he wants to get rid of the Sybil. That's going to be game ending if he can't find a way to get rid of that. And that's his last evolve point. So he's not going to be able to spend it on another follower with Storm Alucard, say, later in the game.
There it is, summoning the Bloodkin.
This is my home.
Oh, gets the ward up there.
Hey, check this out. All must come to an
Just
end.
1 play point away from being able to play Bahamut this turn.
Draconic Fervor, not super helpful, I don't think. I really think Sybil is a choice to go here.
Yeah, you wanna have the follower advantage in this case because Bloodcraft is really chipping away at Skysma's health.
It's very tense right now. I mean, really, it's just
Make the world blue.
there are definitely options in Noah's deck that could be drawn here that I feel like could end the game in a moment's notice. Oh, the heal, though, puts it a little bit far out of reach. Oh, Belphegor again.
I want it. It's like gold to me.
Of course, not going to do any damage here, but 6 damage. How do you respond?
Aw, man, you beat
Ran out of options there. Didn't have enough for the double Demonic Strike as well. And so You know, Bloodcraft, I feel like just didn't quite draw into the options that it needed.
Right.
One of the reasons why a lot of these other decks like Dragoncraft are so strong is because you have that draw option, right? You can keep picking up cards that you need.
Not to mention the healing option. We saw Sybil used to maximum effect there,
Mhm.
playing 2 of them, and I think the second one was on the field until the end of the game. And that's a tremendous card. Gaining an orb if it's played on your 5th turn, and then healing for 3 at the end of your. That's what kept Dragoncraft alive at the end of the game there.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons why aggro can be so successful is you have a large collection of cards at the low cost kind of area, and what that allows you to do is have a little more consistency in your early rounds. And really, if you're playing a late game deck, you either want to hope that your opponent doesn't have a lot of pressure that requires you to have specific answers, or you want to just keep drawing to make sure you have all the answers that you need as quickly as possible. That was a good demonstration of kind of Bloodcraft running out of gas, I think.
Definitely, definitely. All right, this is Noah 1, Skysima 1. The final match of this series to see who goes to the semifinals. Is it going to be Noah or Skysima? The same aggro blood deck that we saw in the last game.
And so we're back to Skysama's Shadowcraft, which took a loss to the Swordcraft of Noah. We've kind of already seen the Shadowcraft deck in action. So many bats.
We'll see if Goblin Princess plays such a crucial role in this game as it did the last game, being able to get those Goblin Kings in hand, playing them with the Lyrial Archers on turn 6 for the maximum effect.
Absolutely. I think that the Goblin Princess has been really great. Goblin Princess Wind God in the context of Shadowcraft has looked really clean, but I feel like it just might be that one step away from being able to be cleanly executed. I don't think we've seen the ideal situation for it quite yet.
My wings are killing me.
Time will tell if that ideal situation comes out. Interesting that we see a Shadow Reaper come out in a deck that's not utilizing Prince Catacomb.
At least as far as we know, we haven't seen Prince Catacomb quite yet.
That's exactly true.
Um,
Still having great effect, getting +2/+2 right there.
And you still have to chew through the Grimner.
Mhm.
So unless you're going to go for some kind of... I mean, it has ambush as well, so you can't even really remove it. I mean, it's a really strong turn for Skysama, actually. And as we know from Shadowcraft, it can really turn the tide of the game if you have a solid opener.
With 5 play orbs, Dance of Death would clear Grimnir, but that would just give Shadow Reaper another 1 attack points. That's more damage to face. Tough choice here for Noah.
Sitting and thinking, deliberating just a little bit more. But gonna use it on the ward. Give 4/4 there. And that's probably the best he could have done.
Right, leaving Grimnir up would have allowed both of them to attack. That would have been 1 extra point of damage and still the ward to deal with. So getting rid of the follower, getting rid of ward, I think was a great option in that scenario.
Lots of cards being committed to the board. It's kind of a call out here that removal is not going to be a huge option on the side of Noah. We do have Razor Claw. He already committed Dance of Death. That's not going to be able to clear out the sheer amount of cards that are available for Skysima.
Yeah, I think seeing Death's Dance come out made Skysima feel a little bit safer. Okay, his board clear, his control is gone. Let me now flood the board with followers, try to put pressure on this game.
Gambling Wrath coming out. Perhaps going to use that Razor Claw to clear it. Still got Storm from the Blood Wolf as well, but that's a lot of self-damage going into Noah.
A lot of self-damage, and Unicorn Dancer is going to be able to heal Skysima for 2 extra health.
Vengeance is active now for Noah, but I don't feel like there's really anything super slated towards Vengeance giving it a huge benefit. And instead, you're just putting yourself in a much more precarious situation where now you're going to take 5, and you really need the perfect option here.
Blood and pain awaken.
Means a little bit of value here. +1/+1, plus the evolve. Where just 1 cost is great because now you can also play the Imp Lancer. But is it going to be enough?
Defile the battlefield.
4 damage exactly. Oh,
Doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Skysama is going to take this series 2-1. What a great series.
You're tough.
and this was the team kill that we were talking about. Skysama lost the first round there, and that Bloodcraft deck on Noah's side just wasn't quite well put together enough to face off against what Skysama had to offer. So the sword actually did well, but then the Bloodcraft could not kind of push it over over the match there.
I was
So-
really impressed with that Shadowcraft deck.
Mhm.
Seeing the cards that he had, Skeletor
Mhm.
and Unicorn Dancer, I was a little skeptical, but seeing that was obviously a very convincing performance. So congratulations, really well done.
Well done. Of course, Skysama to move on. Let's take a look at the brackets and see how that affects the tournament. It will be pushed towards the semifinals there. Meanwhile, a bunch of the other quarterfinals matches I think are currently on the way. We're going to find out how to jump into the next match shortly. Seems like a lot of the players are kind of in the middle of a lot of matches. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in and watching the NGE Shadowverse Open. Hopefully you guys have had a lot of fun sitting here watching the new cards from the expansion being displayed, taking notes on certain decks that are being featured, as well as maybe you were a participant and now you've come to watch the show. At the end of the day today, we're going to be crowning the first weekly champion of the NGE Shadowverse Open.
That
where-
champion is going to be able to take home 30,000 vials, direct invitation to the playoffs, and a unique flair.
Yep.
Really special, really cool stuff.
Blair, of course, second place, does not go home empty-handed as well.
Earning 87 points for second place,
Mm-hmm.
going
10,000.
towards the invitation to the
Yeah.
finals.
And 10,000 red vials, and then of course, third, fourth place, 5,000 red vials. So that's what these players are fighting for just today, and really the bigger thing is the points earned towards moving to the finals event. So we will be on our way, moving to the next match here in just a moment as we figure out numbers.
Numbers, yes, indeed. All right, this next match is going to be an exciting one for sure.
It's gonna be a doozy. We're jumping right into it. Wax Donkeys versus Pot Washer. What names?
Wax
What
donkeys.
names? Wax Donkeys. I like it.
Time for me to prove myself. Is fighting
Havencraft
fair
is
The
a-
always-
first
is it
Havencraft and the first Forestcraft that we've seen all day. This is neat. I was not expecting this.
Now, Havencraft is kind of interesting. Heavenly Aegis is the big, most talked about card on the side of Havencraft, alongside Test of Strength to kind of give you that invulnerable situation there. And oh man,
This
speaking
Heavenly
of
Aegis
the
coming out in
devil,
his hand right there.
yep, Heavenly Aegis just got picked up. Just in general, it feels like Havencraft is doing okay in many matchups, but not looking super outstanding. The only case where that may be true, where it can really excel beyond kind of a fairly even matchup, seems to be Dragoncraft. Conceptually, it makes sense, right? Late game, Dragoncraft pushes late game. If you have the Heavenly Aegis drop and have it be invulnerable, it almost doesn't matter how big and scary your creatures are, because that Heavenly Aegis will just repeatedly throw itself into those creatures, not lose any health.
Not to mention the combination of Heavenly Aegis with Test of Strength, the amulet that forces you to attack a follower as long as it's on your side of the board.
So I feel like that's one of the big things about Havencraft that we have to watch out for. Obviously, it's going to take a while for these kinds of things to settle, and I think both on the side of Dragoncraft decks maybe they're going to get more efficient, but Heavenly Aegis decks, maybe they're going to get more efficient as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to make sense in my mind. Forestcraft again, Aaron and Lily are super kind of popular in these few games.
I obey the
Definitely.
Lord's will.
We wonder if a Roach combo is going to be coming up in the following turns. He doesn't have any 0-drops. He's got Fina in his hand. That's going to be a pretty stellar evolve coming out from here. Elf Girl Liza going to be able to protect the fairies on his side of the board, but those fairies trading into Temple Guardian,
May the forest
they're going to do 0 damage. Temple Guardian's abilities, it reduces all damage it takes on the opponent's side of the turn by 1.
fairies, don't push
So
yourself
3
too
damage is
hard.
going to be able to barely clean off that Temple Guardian, and Fairy's going to be able to go for face, protecting themselves from spells. And that's tempo in favor of Pot Washer. Really great play. We'll see what Wax Donkeys has got to cover it.
Pot Washer. They're very focused on kind of, waxing to make things shiny, pot washing to make pots shiny. Maybe there's some way they could work together to wash the donkey and wax the pot.
Wax the donkey and wash the pot.
You're done
Right.
for.
This
There's
evolve from
Priest of
Priest
the
of the
Cudgel with the
Cudgel.
Evolve.
I
Yep.
see awakening.
It's a very popular method of removal, so to speak. Nothing Liza can do to kind of save the poor little fairies from that.
Poor little fairies. Very formidable card. There's Silver Bolt coming in hand.
Cute to boot.
Fiend Evolve going to give him a 0-drop with the Goblin Mage.
I feel like we haven't seen all day today, we haven't even seen an 8 play point White Wolf that was able to trade. That's
Right.
just not been a thing, which, I mean, players are very good at playing around it, I feel like. They know that come turn 8, hey, it's real dangerous to have a 4-attack follower on the board. As well as just kind of putting pressure on the Forestcraft player to disallow them to put themselves in that situation.
I wonder if that was the skill of the opposing players knowing that a White Wolf could be coming out and electing to clear their own board in such a way by trading into the opposing followers to not
The real
keep
battle begins.
a follower that White Wolf could trade into. That's very possible.
Sinners.
The Judge of Retribution. 5-7. Things are looking a little rough, I think, for the Forestcraft player. Still have Lily, but then you're having to worry about the second card. If you evolve Lily, you can Snowman 1, take out the other, only take 1 damage. Looks like that's a play. The last evolution orb, are you going to spend it, though? He's not.
He's ending his turn
I kinda
right
like
there.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
I do like it.
Tribunal would get rid of the follower, but he's really going to want to set up for Aegis. I think that's his goal. That's the win condition that he's got in his hand, is Aegis.
So he kind of wants to time the Tribunal in a certain way that he can play his Aegis as soon as possible, build himself that space. That timing is very important.
And with a 3 countdown on Tribunal, playing it on turn 6 would have been ideal if it could have popped by the time turn 9 rolls around.
A lot of cards in hand here for Pot Washer. Ancient Elf, strong pick, especially when you have Fairies and Elf Child and all these cards that you can just use to buff up the Ancient Elf stats. Roach can also be used to kind of clear away the ward.
Absolutely.
But
2
is he
fairies,
gonna
3 elf
commit that?
childs. That'd be 6 right there if you wanted to get a strong ancient elf on his side of the field, but you'd have to spend an evolve point to clear the orb. And that's still leaving Priest of the Cudgel and the Snowman and the ticking time bomb of Beast Call Arya on the side of Wax Donkeys.
Plays the Aaron, uses the evolve, and next turn you can play Aaron again, actually, and get that extra evolve point.
King. Come on, let's play.
Elf Child. Oh, gosh. Well, not too bad. Just means that next turn you can swing your Elf Child into the Cudgel.
He could
That did
play.
not. That sounded real bad. I don't promote cudgeling elf children. Let's not do that.
No, we at NGE do not support the cudgeling of elf children. We do support the playing of tribunals, 2 of them to clear the board, or at least one of them. Well, it'd be random. That'd be a total gamble.
Yeah. Pretty good odds, though. 50-50.
50-50. It's the best odds I've had in years.
Oh, test of strength.
Test of strength. Definitely want to get that on the board on the turn before you play Heavenly
Aegis.
Aegis, get the most cost efficiency out of it.
Yeah. I like how they set up the Beast Call Aria as well. Eventually, you're going to get the Storm out of it and start swinging and turning around the momentum here.
Next turn, though, even if Wax Donkeys does summon Heavenly Aegis, he doesn't have an evolve point. That's crucial. Typically, you see players save their evolve point to the last second so that you do have some kind of insurance policy when you summon Aegis. Because with Aegis, it's a follower, it's really high cost, strong follower you put on the board, but that turn, you don't have an evolve point, you can't do anything else. It's almost comparable to Seraph. Seraph, you really have to make sure you have the momentum before you play the 8-cost amulet. Because you're basically giving your opponent a free turn to do something.
Yes. Which at that point, there's so many play points on the field that could be incredibly effective. There it is. Heavenly Aegis.
But with Test of Strength on the field, that's one whole turn where Potwasher has to attack, or can't attack for face. He has to attack Heavenly Aegis.
The big thing, too, is there's a second Heavenly Aegis waiting. Eventually, he's going to be able to throw a bunch of... Oh, he's going to use Silver Bolt! He couldn't do much anything else. Tribunal! He's trying to chew through the ward. He will be able to do so. 10 damage to face here. Then the timing could not have been any better.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Beast Call Aria pop, saved his double Tribunal, took down 2 wards. Heavenly Aegis can swing.
That's a White Wolf in the hand of Potwasher.
But he can't survive another turn. The instant
right.
you commit your White Wolf, you're saying, okay, I can't clear any other source here, and he would lose the game.
It's almost
And
like
again,
Wax Donkeys has done this before.
we find ourselves in a situation where White Wolf comes too late to the party, and it's just, oh, there's a bounce. He's going to get 6 damage out of this, and he falls. Oh my god, I wasn't even counting! I wasn't even counting math!
No kidding. No way.
I envy you.
Potwasher taking that series 1-0. Arthur is, he does not look very happy. I wasn't counting. That's not something I was paying attention to. Probably should. Neither was Rainey.
I was told in school that I did very poorly because I didn't listen. I didn't like to do my homework. I certainly did not do my counting.
Thankfully, the players have done their homework. What a game.
Oh my god. And the big thing about it is using Ancient Elf to bounce Roche is actually really, really expensive. You would much prefer it to be Nature's Guidance, but it was exactly enough. And guess what? The key point about that match was Crystalia Aaron, the extra evolution orb, and he didn't spend it. I mean, there was only a snowman on the field, so I would hope that he wouldn't spend the evolve just to get rid of a snowman. But that was insane. Just that single this new card. Crystalia Aaron, I can't talk about how much. It just does so many things. It's a ward, it's got stats, it's a heal, you get evolution orb out of it. There's just so many things that it does.
A free evolution orb. That's the part that's like, really? That's an ability? That seems really strong.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I salute you. So we have a situation where Wax Donkey, I think, has to recoup, figure out what's going on here. We have, by the way, the other round of 8 matches going on right now because we got to see a large amount of the round of 16. We're going to push the round of 8 forward, and so we can land on the semifinals and
Interesting.
start approaching the end of the tournament. And Potwasher currently is looking real good to
Very strong.
kinda take the cake, so to speak. Taking the cake.
So I guess I kind of answered my own question about how would an old Bahamut deck, with the introduction of a few new cards, how that would stack up against one of the entirely new decks, one of the entirely new strategies, like you were talking about. It's really working well. Forestcraft is still really strong, still very strong.
Yeah. Today we've seen kind of a good amount of different decks and styles. I feel like as we get into the round of 8, and even the semifinals will get a better idea of which have kind of pushed through the field of Dragoncraft and Shadowcraft. I just want to see at the end which classes show up in the finals, because I feel like those are going to be the ones to really look to and see what made them so consistent. We talked about it a few times, but this tournament is probably going to be one of the most difficult tournaments you have.
Because it's so new into the expansion, for sure.
There's Wax his flares, please help.
Father,
Please.
come on.
Does anybody know Wax Donkeys?
Fighting and
You should
defend all
check
you
up on
know.
him, see if he's
Make
okay.
sure he's okay, yeah.
Yeah. Please help. Never
We
know.
don't want any of our
It's always
players
worth
conking out in the middle of the tournament.
Oh, there it is, a little soul squasher.
Wax Donkey's electing to stay with his Havencraft deck. It's interesting to see how this is going to stack up against Potwasher's Shadowcraft deck.
We talked about it a little bit too. Havencraft seems to, I mean, Heavenly Aegis is a great card individually, but really what wins you games in Shadowverse is your deck as a whole. I feel like that's one of the interesting things about the state of Havencraft right now, is that you have some great cards on paper in terms of like Heavenly Aegis, and even back then Seraph puts your opponent in a really tough situation. You must have Banish if you want to defeat Seraph. And Heavenly Aegis, you must be able to end the game at a certain point, or be able to swing face at a certain point.
Right,
Put
and
on a
having
timer.
the right cards in your deck to build up to that climax of a play at the end of the game is what makes the strategy, is what makes something so effective.
I just wonder if Havencraft has enough cards surrounding the Heavenly Aegis to really make it consistent and solid. Because that was a pretty picture-perfect situation for Havencraft. Got the test of strength, got the Heavenly Aegis down.
That
double
was
clear on the
that was
ward.
almost picture perfect. You were right. But Forestcraft was able to close the game out.
Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of, Heavenly Aegis doesn't have ward, right? So your only protection really is test of strength, unless you have just like a cheap ward card they could throw in there as well.
Right.
And
And of course, Guardian Sun does not work on Heavenly Aegis. It's not affected by other cards' abilities. So you can't get, that would be absolutely ridiculous. Heavenly Aegis with ward. I mean, come on.
boy. Oh boy.
I am the Mad
Please.
Cyclone.
Please help. Now I understand. I feel like now I understand Wax Donkey. It's all coming full circle here.
Prince Catacomb, that would be an amazing cost-efficient play right there, giving 4 followers
What are you hiding inside?
summon a skeleton when they die. That's very, very well done.
Dance, dear
Very good
bones
draw
of
there.
flight.
Gonna evolve, push the Prince Catacomb into the ward.
A lot of aggression coming out from Potwasher.
This is exactly what you need to do. Removal on the side of Wax Donkey is kind of strong. I mean, you've got Tribunal, and they've got Themis's, and he played the Blackened Scripture as well. So I think he's feeling slightly comfortable right now.
With an Evolved Temple Defender, you're going to have now, I guess, 3 damage to take it out.
Yeah. It's such an annoying card.
Very annoying.
To be honest,
Oh, yeah.
Temple Defender, we need to have a talk. Why do you have to do that?
Why do you have to have such a good ability?
Can't shoot him with the arrow, because if it's 1 damage, it's 0
It
damage.
becomes 0 damage. That's huge to me. That's the biggest part of the ability. If you do 1 damage to it, it's 0 damage.
Had to trade out. Now there's a bunch of chump guys ready to do their best. And it's not bad. I mean, comparatively, look, it's already down to 7 health. God.
Wax Donkeys is going to have to evolve the
He has to trade out a bunch of cards right now, but the big thing is there's still the last word effect from Prince Catacomb.
and Little Soul Squasher in the hand of Potwasher. If Wax Donkeys evolves Radiance Angel, that's an easy kill right there with Little Soul Squasher's ability.
Is it Tribunal that's the play? I mean, I don't think there's actually a very good play in Havencraft's hand at all.
It's a lot of weak followers that would not be getting a very cost-efficient play out of Summoning Tribunal. Definitely not.
I think the big thing that hurts is Illyrial that has that last word effect, because that's the one that has 2 damage, right? If you were to kind of mitigate damage, you would want to take down the cards that won't summon another skeleton, because then it'll be Potwasher's turn, and he could just still swing.
Mhm.
Oh,
Real battle
he
begins.
banishes.
Banishes
Banishes
Lariel.
and that's exactly what he needed to do. Feel like gonna trade with the other 2 damage. Don't proc the last word. All right,
Little
3
Soul
damage,
Squasher.
5 damage. Oh, there's not enough. There's not enough shadows. He's gonna try for it. I think he's gonna try to throw cards in. We'll see.
That's going to be 7 damage right there.
No!
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is.
Stop! Stop!
Easy peasy. Phantom Howl.
Potwasher closing out the series against Wax Donkeys. GG, taking it 2-0, moving on to the semifinals.
Very nicely done. I think that Shadowcraft is certainly kind of having a stronger appearance. I would love after this week of tournaments, combined with the community tournaments that are going to be happening as well, we go back and look at the stats once again, and maybe add it all up to get a bigger kind of sample size, get a bigger pool, and have a better idea of kind
Well,
of
what
what's
also
going
would be
on.
interesting is comparing them week to week to see how much has changed.
That's very
Seeing which
interesting.
decks are gaining more popularity coming into this new expansion.
I absolutely agree. So Potwasher, over to the semifinals. We have our second individual joining Sky-sama. So 2 in the semifinals.
Potwasher and Sky Sama are going to be up against each other in the semifinals, correct?
We'll have to look at a bracket to see, which I believe we will have in just a moment here. Of course, we're going to be jumping into the next game as soon as possible.
Mhm. Like you said, we've moved some of the round of 8 matches up. They're going on concurrently with us right now. We wanted to keep the pace of the show going, get in the semifinals and the finals as soon as we can.
Let's take a look at how the brackets are shaping up and see the fate. Oh, they're about to bash heads. Sky-sama versus Potwasher. We're going to be watching lots of mirrors here.
Definitely, definitely.
I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how the semifinals is going to play out. And I'm really kind of hoping to see what other decks have made it through, if there's going to be more Swordcraft, if there's going to be more Forestcraft, and obviously we have one representing in the semifinals now through that incredible Roach finish against Havencraft.
Incredible finish. If you have any thoughts about that finish or any other decks, you can tweet at us at WatchNGE. Let us know what you're thinking about these decks that you're seeing, these new decks, and let us know your feedback.
Also, if you want to participate in the NGE Shadowverse Open, you want to get involved or find out what the schedule is, read about the rules, anything like that, our website, shadowverse.nge.io, is where you'll go for any of that. Now, for the moment, Sterling and I are going to take a teeny break.
Teeny break.
And when we come back, we're going to continue with the NGE Shadowverse Open. Welcome back to the NGE Shadowverse Open. I'm Rainey, and
And
joining
I'm
me is...
Sterling. We've got
Got
the
it.
semifinals coming up for you. It's going to be Skysama versus Potwasher. Really great match. We saw both of these players earlier today. Let's take a look at the bracket so we can see how today's events have transpired. You can see Skysama and Potwasher right up there. Skysama knocking out Noah. Potwasher whacking out Wax Donkeys. Off-stream Mango took out Bane Dory, advancing to the semifinals. We're still waiting to see the results from Ghost Bomb and CP Stoltz. That's going to happen off-stream. In the meantime, let's talk about this semifinals match.
The semifinals are going to be really interesting. We've got Forestcraft, Shadowcraft up against what I believe, if my memory serves me correct, is Shadowcraft, Dragoncraft on the side of Skysama. I'll have to confirm to make sure that that's actually the case. But as we see these players kind of heading into the later stages of the tournament, we're starting to see more and more kind of centering. Haven't seen Rune at all today, so I'm still waiting to see if maybe somebody on the lower part of the bracket.
I'm still geeking a hub about Potwasher's Forestcraft deck. That was a stellar finish that we saw. And who knows, maybe it will have we'll see a similar finish against Dragoncraft.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm interested to see Skysama and Potwasher. And to see who makes it to the finals, really, because this is going to be very telling of like what decks are going to be successful. We've seen the iteration of Shadowcraft, kind of Goblin Princess stuff, Goblin
Right,
Princess
with more
that
neutral
stuff,
followers,
yep,
for sure.
neutral followers, as well as we've seen instances of kind of more Prince Catacomb, kind of Shadow Reaper centric.
Right.
Seen a little bit of Cerberus, but actually I feel like the Cerberus decks haven't really made it through at all. I don't remember if Skysama has one, but I feel like the instances that we have seen Cerberus come through, they may have won a game, but they've not been able to kind of close out the series and push that deck forward.
And Goblin Princess having such a strong effect and great synergy with Prince Catacomb. Goblin Princess being able to get 3 followers on the board immediately, putting 1 follower in your hand when Goblin Princess is destroyed, and then Prince Catacomb comes out, giving all those followers. By that time, you might have 4 or 5 followers on your side of the board, giving all of them the ability to summon the skeleton when they're destroyed. Really strong combos.
Absolutely. So, looking forward to see more Roach combos, and hopefully this time we'll be there with our abacus, counting
out those numbers.
It's funny. I always feel like whenever I play Forestcraft, I'm sitting there staring at my screen for like a whole. It feels like an hour, just racking my brain. The sad part is, after I do all that math, I realize I'm still not going to win.
Still not going to win.
I'm still
All that
not
work
gonna
for
win.
nothing. That's why Dragoncraft, I feel like, is just 1 card per turn, 1 card per turn.
The question is, how do you lose when you play Silverbolt White Wolf in the old expansion at the very least? That's the real question. How do
That
you
was a really
lose?
strong deck. We saw that.
That's why I think
we
I'm
saw
a
it
very
lose very
talented
seldom.
individual, because I managed to do that.
Managed to win with the most popular deck. How
I
did you do it?
managed to lose with the most
Oh,
popular
right,
deck.
right.
That's why the talent. That's where the talent lies. It's in doing the things that others cannot. All right. Ooh, wow. This just in.
Ghost
got-
Bomb took it 2-0.
Took it 2-0, so we have all our semifinals filled out now. I'm interested to see what the bottom end of the semifinals bracket will be running, because we've kind of seen both of these players on the top end, Skysama, and we could go ahead and take a look at how the brackets have shaped out now once more before the game starts here very shortly. We've seen Skysama and Potwasher. We've seen a little bit of Mango, but Ghost Bomb is the last unknown here, so he might be holding a very interesting deck.
Definitely.
So, without further ado, let's jump in next to the semifinals of the NGE Shadowverse Open. These players here are already in the prizing, right? They've already gone at least 5,000 red vials.
Definitely.
They have the chance to push up to 30,000 for first place. The first weekly champion of the NGE Shadowverse Open is about to be crowned. Who will it be?
You definitely want to be the first weekly champion. No one else is going to be able to claim that. Someone else, the second or the third, not as cool as being the first weekly champion.
Though, to be fair, nobody else can also be the second weekly champion. There's not going to be another second
But second is
weekly champion.
nowhere near as cool as first, in my book,
You're right.
because
You're
it's
right.
first.
It's first. You were there. You were the trendsetter. Let's say. All right, Dragoncraft against Shadowcraft here. Fairly good hand, I feel like, on the side of the Dragoncraft player. He's got 2, he's got 3, he's got some removal.
Just interesting that Skysuma has the Dragon's Breath in his deck. 2, I'm assuming he's got 3. Typically, with this neutral ramp, we don't normally see many one-cost cards at all. If at all, there might be an Ivory Dragon to have the ability to draw a card later in the game, but he's opting for this cheap early clear, which I think is going to serve him well against the Shadowcraft deck. So we'll see how that plays out.
Certainly been able to make good use of it. Pumping himself up to 4 meant that he could play the Blazing Breath as well as Iowa, and already kind of reaping the benefits of the ramp here.
Definitely. He's definitely going to want to save that Zell for the later combos with Ouroboros or Sahakuya with Bahamut. We've seen that devastate earlier in the series. I believe it was Skysuma that actually made that play, if I'm remembering correctly. So we'll see if we can do it again here. We've got a Shadow Reaper in the hand of Potwasher, as well as another Goblin.
What are you hiding inside?
There it is. Prince Catacomb comes out. And that was largely because I think it's just an awkward moment to commit the other cards. I mean, if you play the Goblin, you're leaking a lot of play points. Instead, Prince Catacomb coming down can spend up to 0 or spend down to 0. Even though there aren't as many followers on the board as you would have liked, I feel.
Definitely. Potwasher is sitting on a little Soul Squasher, going to be able to destroy an Evolved follower come turn 5 for Skysuma. Although on turn 5, he'll have 6 play orbs. If Potwasher does not decide to trade Catacombs into the Aelia, don't think that would be the option in this case.
Yeah, to give your opponent 7 points. I mean, he doesn't really have a card on hand right now, but he could draw into one that could utilize that. And certainly, Breath of the Salamander. Oh, he is
Good
going
Real Archer, he's going to give him the play orb. I guess he wants to keep the board clear as much as he can.
Yeah, he's going to be able to wipe out that Shadow Reaper. The big thing about this scenario is there's actually a second Shadow Reaper in store, and so I could definitely see a situation where you've used your Breath of the Salamander, and we know that Skysuma doesn't have any more AoE removal in hand. That Shadow Reaper could come into play. It is a little bit late for it, though. We're getting into kind of the late stages, at least for Dragoncraft. It's up to 7 play points. Gonna be 8. So I don't think the Shadow Reaper is necessarily that useful, especially because you need to start being concerned for how much damage you're going to take to face by Storm.
Right, come turn 9, turn 10.
Oh my god.
What great board clear. What a Breath of the Salamander, one of the staple cards in any Dragoncraft deck. Really getting its use in this game.
Yeah, that feels...
Bringing us closer and closer to turn 10 for that evolved Genesis Dragon. Skysuma hasn't used a single one of his Evolve points. That's huge. Whereas Potwasher has used both of them.
Yeah, Storm is going to be real damaging here. Oh man, he has the Unicorn Dancer as well. You really want to remove that Unicorn Dancer, but you have to push through the ward, so you're going to either have to use some kind of removal, maybe a zombie party kind of thing.
I can be graceful too.
There it is, trading with the skeleton. There it is. Summon 3 zombies. People showed up.
And an evolved zombie, 4/4, not enough to take out the Rahab, not worth evolving and attacking into it.
Oh my god.
But this is going to be...
So much damage coming down the barrel here.
14
at the most.
Yes, if he decides to evolve the Genesis Dragon. But if he evolves, that's a perfect prime target for Little Soul Squasher.
Oh, yep. I feel like being patient there was kind of the better option, but he could always just draw into another Storm option in the
Yeah, we have to remember that Skysuma cannot see the hand of Potwasher. I think evolving it was a right decision. There's no way he could have known that card was
especially
in hand.
the right decision to evolve the Genesis Dragon rather than the ward. Because the ward gets taken down and you open yourself up to possibly taking a lot more damage to the face.
Right, the ward, the follower with ward is the obvious target. So by evolving the other follower, you create 2 prime targets.
What a big play for Potwasher, and puts himself even in terms of health, trying to draw into options. Oh my god, the Grimner. No. Gonna play the Rahab. Will that be enough? It all depends on this draw here. God, Kerberos can buff up cards.
Time to go a little wild. It's the pitch
Amy.
for you.
There it is. And gonna be able to trade with a little Soul Squasher. 2, 4,
That's-
6, 8.
Oh, so close. But still, he's got one more turn. But Grimnir is going to be coming out next turn, clearing the board effectively.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh my god!
that's
one
5 damage.
off.
It's not a perfect move.
Oh no. All right.
Potwasher's going to be left with 2 health.
So I'm gonna flip. Oh, but it's ward. You have to push through the
It could
ward.
be a Cerberus that he draws, and that would end the game.
Or a Dance of Death. Ah! Ah!
Oh my gosh. I wasn't counting his shadows. He's got enough. He's got enough. That's going to be Potwasher 1-0.
Oh my god! Oh my god, I
There-
need therapy.
Victory is a testament.
I
There-
need therapy.
There were a lot of good options that Potwasher could have drawn. And that just and the ghosts just happened to be one of them.
I need to talk about what happened. I feel like I feel very uncomfortable about what just occurred on screen. There are feelings that I need to tap into.
So many
and
emotions coming
access.
up.
I don't even know what to do with myself right now. Oh my god. Oh my god, Potwasher.
What a game. Yeah, wow.
And you know, this is the second time he's come from a place where it's a very close game. He's on the verge of actually being defeated, one turn away, and then he plays the game-winning maneuver. So this time, in even more incredible fashion than his fours, because on the fours he was actually sitting on that combo for a while.
Yeah.
In this situation, he just, here you go.
Drew the right card.
Here's the golden ticket. Take you down to the chocolate factory.
1-0 in the favor of Potwasher against Skysama. Will this be it? Potwasher, if he wins this, will advance to the finals and have a chance at winning those sweet, sweet 30,000 vials. Or will Skysama answer back and bring it 1-1?
Here comes neutral. Imperial Strix. He threw it away. He threw away the Strix.
That's such a good early card.
He threw away the Strix.
It had a huge effect earlier in the tournament in the round of 16 that we saw.
I don't know what option Skysama was looking for instead, but we're not going to see Strix quite yet. Ichter in hand. Ichter?
Ishtar.
Ishtar.
Ishtar. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. That's how I would pronounce it. I also don't speak ancient Egyptian.
2 cards by turn 2. Turn 3, going to have a pretty beefy Ancient Elf. It's looking pretty good. Prince Catacomb on turn 3 play is also not bad for Skysama. He's going to be able to weaken the Ancient Elf just a little more. Do you still play the Ancient Elf here? Face with Fairy Ancient Elf, or do you try to get a few more followers on the board and save your ward for a situation where you think more damage is going to be coming down the road?
think
He got
having-
his Strix again! I didn't even notice.
I think having the ward on the field is going to serve him more, especially a 3-4 ward. With all the little followers, the skeletons,
Yeah.
and such, they're going
Evolve-
to have to trade against
Evolve isn't even coming as an option for Skysama for a little while, so he certainly can't do it this turn. And now Evolve is available for Potwasher. It's going to be really tough for him to kind of take back board control. He has Dance of Death in hand, and so that's going to be helpful in certain ways.
it. But would you Dance of Death as opposed to Lyrial Archer when you have an evolve? When you have your first evolve point to spend on turn 5?
Wow, the early Roach as well. He's going really aggro right now. Potwasher.
Really does not want that Styx to live any longer.
There it is. With the Evolve. Ancient Elf gonna
Clearing the
take down
board,
all the
interesting. When he
skeletons.
could have gone face for 8 damage, he decided to clear the board. Very interesting play, but
Got
effective
Elf Queen in
nonetheless.
hand. And there's a Nature's Guidance, so it actually opens up an opportunity for him to maybe pursue Roach. He can get a 0 drop through Fina, and maybe that'll fish out the Roach.
Fina, of course, a great card to have right on turn 5. Whether you evolve second or evolve first, Fina turn 5 is a great play.
There it is. Yep. Fina plus the Evolve, Goblin Mage. put in hand now.
I'll blow you away. Ooh,
Gonna
spark
play the
me
Goblin
some.
Mage immediately. Gets the Roach.
Really wants to have as many followers on his side of the board as he can at this point in the game. Normally, you might want to save the Goblin Mage for a Roach combo later in, but I think in this instance, he knows the pressure is on. He knows that Shadowcraft is ramping up and going to put on the aggression here soon.
Oh, this is an interesting situation where actually Skysama can hit face. He's gonna go ahead and use Mimi, take down Fina, evolve Cerberus,
Never let loose, lady.
rush the Goblin Mage, and then do 4 to face.
Run away. Ow!
Definitely shifting the game in the favor of Skysama, at least in terms of health.
8 shadows though. The Elf Queen is just sitting there.
That's going to come in big come next turn, turn 7 for Potwasher.
I'll blow you away.
Another 0 drop here, playing it immediately again.
Gimme.
Fishing out an Elf Child. You could, I mean, do you roll a dice here?
Come on, let's play.
There it
Got
goes,
him.
50-50.
Got him.
Hold my breath for that one. Whew.
No problem. All right.
You've got 8 shadows. That's at least... I'm just going to wait and see. I don't want to do the math in my head. I'm lazy. It's 2
Got
zombies. I suppose I could have figured that one out.
It's
pretty good board clear. I could have figured that one out.
Could have, but didn't.
Oh, man.
Trading the 4-2 zombie into the Goblin Mage does not seem like...
The ideal play.
But
Giving yourself board space,
definitely...
I think, depending on what Glimmering Wings draws, well, you don't really want to swing. You don't want to spend stuff, but I do think that you want to draw or Elf Queen. Not really sure what the best way forward here for Elf is, but Potwasher definitely needs to think about how he's going to get rid of this board here. Do you swing? He trades the Elf Child.
feel slushy.
Electing to not use the Elf Queen. He's still sitting at 9 health.
Okay.
Coco is going to be able to give Cerberus an extra
7.
2 damage. That's going to be game ending right
Oh
there.
my god, got the Dance of Death. Yep. Oh man.
Man,
Took the risk too.
You're strong.
I mean, 11 shadows. So there was actually a lot of damage on the board if he didn't Snowman.
do you think that Elf Queen would have saved Potwasher?
You know, a curious situation. I believe the damage was it 7 and 5 on
Right.
the board,
Mm-hmm.
and then he Snowman the 5. I can't.
It was
remember
they
which
were
one
at
it
both
was.
at 5 and 5.
It was a 5 and 5.
Yeah,
Okay, that would make a
Ishtar
lot more
and the
sense.
evolved Cerberus.
Yeah, so he Snowman 1. So the big thing is if you had played Elf Queen, you would have gone to 19 health. I mean, it certainly would have let you live 1 turn, but the real question is, does it actually put you ahead, or is it just extending the time it takes for you to die?
Right.
So,
Death by 1,000 cuts or going out in a blaze of glory.
all right. Well, into the final
Bow
game
before Dark Dragoon, ruler of the skies.
of this particular
Time for me
match
to
here.
prove myself.
Potwasher and Skysama, these players are fighting to see who can move on to 1st or 2nd place.
Skysama able to answer really well.
Oh boy, oh boy. Double Elf Child. The early Roach is actually not super fantastic, just because typically you're not just going to want to play a Roach.
Right. And in the hand of Skysama, we have a perfect 2-3-4 drop of cards that he has. Unicorn Dancer into Grimnir into Rahab. Really great play
Oh,
options. No ramp
easy.
available, which is not ideal, obviously, but the 2 Elf Child's going to be able to clear out.
Good patience on
Unicorn Dancer.
Potwasher's part.
Mhm.
Didn't play a turn 1. Just let the turn 2 come. Saw the Unica drop. Double Elf Child. Feeling pretty good.
Still no ramp in the hand of Skysama.
It's dangerous because there's some very strong early options here for Potwasher. With Ancient Elf coming, bouncing the 2 Elf Childs means that you again have that removal.
Man, it's almost like Skysama could see the hand. He knew that the Ancient Elf was coming turn 3. Talk about a lesser player might have just played the Grimnir. Okay, I'll get a ward. That'll be good. And then Ancient Elf would have come out. Oh my gosh. Okay, now you got to deal with that. But a really great choice. Knowing what a Forestcraft deck is capable of with that turn 3 Ancient Elf, being able to clear the board.
He's going to opt to get more creatures on the board here, more followers on the board. double Roach in hand for Potwasher as well. Oh, and he has the bounce. There's actually so much on the board for Potwasher right now. It's looking really good.
You're done for.
The journey continues.
It's the evolution. 7/6 for Ancient Elf, plus the fairy there. Any kind of face damage right now is really dangerous for Sky Summon. Oh my
And
god!
that's one cost-efficient Siegfried right there.
Oh my
Oh, man.
goodness.
That's got to feel good. Siegfried is such a great card, being able to destroy damaged follower.
White
Not a
Wolf
card
in
we've
hand.
seen today either.
This is probably the first situation where we see actually White Wolf waiting kind of on the sidelines to be spent here. And come turn 9, there's going to be real dangers. You get the 0-drop Silver Bolt, and then you got the double Roach play with the bounce. You can 20-0 somebody.
Absolutely.
You can definitely kill them in one turn.
That's the combo that made Forest Crab the top
There's a
tier
lot more
deck
where that came from.
in the previous meta. So we'll see if this new meta neutral Ramp Dragon can stand up against that.
The Roach ability to give it +1 damage for each card played, so strong.
Let's play.
And it's almost certainly always going to be strong. Double bounce as well. Turn 7, turn 8, turn 9 are going
That's
to be
right,
really
he drew a second
dangerous.
Nature's Guidance.
How is he going to clear this board? Kind of inefficient to spend an Evolution Orb on it,
Right.
but you also don't really want to spend a Roach on it. The Elf Child itself is going to pull it down to 2 health, which means it's going to be 1 health after you trade your Elf.
It would be Potwasher's last evolve point. He'd get another damage, another 1 point of face damage for that extra fairy, keeping the fairy with evolve alive.
Mhm.
Maybe that would be worth it, but
Wow, he's going to bounce.
I guess he wanted to draw that extra card. Can't
Yeah.
say that was not worth it. Not a bad move.
This ends here.
And he's going to evolve anyways.
So sparkly.
The interesting thing here is he's cleared the board, and that's well and good. Is there any opportunity where, oh, is he going to bounce the Roach here?
I don't know how I feel about that, using the Roach this early, because we know that the Ramp Dragon has so many opportunities to heal itself. Look, he just drew Sibyl, and he already had Draconic Fervor in hand.
I think one of the interesting things about this scenario is there wasn't actually, I mean, you look, there's Bahamut, there's Draconic Fervor.
Make the world bloom.
There wasn't really anything good to trade the White Wolf into, and maybe playing that Roach, try to put some pressure on the opponent, try to push out some cards that he may have had
Right.
to see if there was any situation where Sky Summon would think, oh god, he's got a big Roach combo coming again, and I'm already pushed down to 16 health. You
But
know?
now, from that last turn, that's 1 Roach and 1 Nature's Guidance that he doesn't have.
It's yeah. I feel like
And now with some healing that
It's-
Skysamo was able to make use of.
it's way more worth it to get the Silver Bolt.
Come on, let's play.
I think that's really going to be what's going to win him the game. But
Mm.
he's
I see
one
what you're
turn
saying.
away. We'll see. We'll see. He's 1 turn away. And he's having to scramble. Spends a second Nature's Guidance as well. The timing was not quite right. The draw,
Gimme.
the draw on the Sybil was just at the exact perfect time. Restoring health as well was insane value in this scenario because really, you're just trying to keep yourself out of that kill zone.
Right, absolutely. And he still has Draconic Fervor in his hand if he needs an extra draw, too.
Almost
come this
to
turn.
end.
Mhm.
Draw some cards, maybe get some healing, so that next turn the Bahamut can come out.
This is tough. There's still nothing for the White Wolf to kill now. Because he was unwilling to leave the Sybil up, which I can't blame him for. 6 damage? Just letting that rock? That's not good.
And now White Wolf, you're right, has nothing to trade against. Still a presence on the board that Skysma is going to have to deal with it. If he could banish it, that would be excellent.
I don't think that's going to be the case, but still it's going to be 1 turn away from actually happening. If he plays, for example, the Ouroboros, he's going to actually have to physically swing the White Wolf into it. Bahamut is going to destroy it, so that's not going to be great.
Right. He's got to know that the Silver Bolt is coming. That's for sure. Draconic Fervor getting 3 health back would help mitigate some of that damage. I think those health points are going to come in absolutely crucial. And he doesn't have the hand that I think he wants, and I think drawing the cards would be wonderful. But still, he doesn't have anything else to play after Draconic Fervor, and the White Wolf will be able to go for 4 damage right to face. Tough decision, tough decision.
There it is. He's already spent all the roaches here. There could have been a situation where swing 4 to the face, and if you had bounces, but he had to spend all those resources in a situation where he wasn't able to really swing lethal. You're finally at that point where there's a lot of play points.
You're done for.
There it is. Involving the White Wolf. The ward is going to be very useful in helping him live for 1 extra turn.
Interesting choice to evolve the White Wolf and go for face there, rather than trading it into Ouroboros. I guess he knew that having a ward, he's safe from the direct attack. Correct? And by keeping Ouroboros on the field, he's not being able to heal itself for 3 damage.
Definitely a good decision, I think, on Potwatcher's side, and definitely towing the line between what is really... I mean, you're kind of incentivizing as well Sky Summon to remove that White Wolf because you don't want to kill it, but it's doing 6 damage to you.
And 1 Silver Bolt.
And the thing is, he has Jungle Warden in hand. So,
1 Silver Bolt and a decent attack to face is all it takes to close this game out now.
There it is. It's over. He's got the Jungle Warden and a Silver Bolt. There it is.
8 damage, wow.
Jungle Warden. Jungle Warden Silver Bolt. And we talked about this before, how the new Silver Bolt White Wolf decks were kind of incorporating a lot of these new cards. Aerin, again, that extra evolution orb, super helpful. Got the Jungle Warden for the Storm, as well as White Wolf. And really that was a quintessential moment where it was like Aerin was going to help tide you over to build yourself the opportunity to get White Wolf out on the field.
Right, we were talking about the Roach combo, which came, in a way, but it was for board clear earlier in the game, when we thought the Roach combo was going to be there to close out the game. So really great knowledge of the new cards utilizing Jungle Warden to its maximum effect with Silverbolt. Baiting out the Bahamut, which was great, because we've seen Bahamut absolutely destroy games, but in this, it was a ploy. You're going to play Bahamut? Okay, I've got the card that'll beat you right here.
Yeah, super close game, and definitely a big win. And we see Forestcraft move on. We see Forestcraft move on. Silverbolt is so much damage, actually, and having it on 0 cost, that's kind of the biggest, that's the strongest you can get, I think, in a Forestcraft deck. In many ways, the fact that it draws a card, it costs 0, it does so much damage, I think it's the perfect direct damage spell, basically.
It really is. It really is. So, Silverbolt still being used very effectively in Tempest of the Gods like it was in Bahamut.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the brackets and see how things have changed up here. Real quick, Sky Sama gets eliminated and Potwasher moves on to the finals. We only have Ghost Bomb and Mango left. That match is just about to kick off here real quick.
We've seen Mango, but we haven't seen Ghost Bomb. Let's see what Ghost Bomb brings to the table. It looks like it's a blood deck.
Bow before Dark Dragoon.
Utilizing Blood Moon.
Is it snakes?
It could be snakes. Could be snakes. What a great card. Blood Moon, cost 3, it's an amulet. It gives you the effect of having Vengeance for as long as it's on the field. Very potent card, and it doesn't even change your health. It doesn't damage you at all. Not like Belphegor that takes you down to 10 health immediately, which of course
Blood
gives
Moon
you
just
Vengeance.
lets you be in Vengeance. Queen Vampire, Odin, Diabolic Drain, some interesting cards in hand on the side of Dragoncraft.
And this is the first Odin that we've seen all day. It could be used to great effect against this Dragoncraft if Zeus or Bahamut or Sybil needs to be cleared off the board, for instance.
Lightning Blast drawn on the side of Mango. Depending on which cards get dropped here, could come in handy. Board control on the side of Mango is going to be really good here.
It's like
Oh, place Belphegor as well? Oh, if Vengeance is active, it won't do damage.
It doesn't do damage to you, so you get a
Shall I
4/4
grant
follower for 4 cost. And drawing 2 cards, not to mention.
There it is.
Bluest water.
That's the combo that everyone in the chat was like, duh. And we didn't see it until it just happened.
It's okay. The surprise is the excitement.
That's the
there.
excitement,
Sybil?
yeah.
Sybil, Sybil.
To make the world blue.
Gonna run into Belphegor here. 1
Give
health
it to
left.
me again.
And still a fairly decent situation for Dragoncraft.
Right.
We're getting kind of higher and higher into the play points here.
Isn't demonic armor lovely?
The Evolve is going to be able to do 2 damage here and heal.
Try this on for size. All must come to
Very
an
good
end.
play, being able to get Sybil off the field there.
Sahak Wheel available for
Black wings are unbreakable.
Mango. And so he's going to be able to pull out some kind of combo here. He has 1 Evolution Orb, and he's actually put Ghost Bomb into lethal. Ghost Bomb needs to find some kind of healing.
A worthy opponent.
Oh, and he does. 14, just barely. There's 13 damage coming down the pipeline, and the
And a
ward.
ward.
But the Sahak Wheel can get rid of the ward with a rush. What is the play here? It was very, very close. Exactly the amount of play points he needed to
Yeah.
kind of do that 13 damage, but
Dragon.
Evolving to get rid of the ward.
I think he's trying to save his Evolve for Zell.
Right. I see what you mean.
But there's so much healing back up to 16.
so much healing. He's
And I
not going to
feel
be
like
able to
Ghost
close
Bomb-
it out.
Ghost Bomb has to realize, you know, that 13 health is kind of the super dangerous point.
Right. Even still, staying above 13 health, you don't have Vengeance. And Blood Moon is now taken
Oh,
off the field, and
man.
you don't have it in hand.
My beauty.
Grimner continuing to demonstrate why he's such a great card in this expansion.
Absolutely. And there's 12 health.
There's still some more healing where that came from, but Evolution Orbs are kind of getting a little scarce.
It's a currency that's becoming scarce.
And
So
he's out
Mango-
of Vengeance now.
Right.
well.
Mango might not be able to finish it in one turn, but still, if he could pull off that Bahamut combo, getting him down to 1 health or maybe even 2 health, that could bring Mango to the spot in the game where he needs to be to finish it out.
Mhm.
Do that on one turn and then summon Ouroboros in the next turn.
Gonna be a tough decision. There's the Diabolic Drain. And another ward. I really like how safe he's playing. He still could just take a lot of damage to the face here.
Right, the Evolved Zell would be able to take out the ward. Then Bahamut going to face, that would be a tremendous blow.
Unfortunately, the one weakness of the combo is that you have to spend your Evolve point on the card that won't have Storm.
Right. Unfortunately, yes. Although, if
Fighting is so
He's
the
going
ward
for
is
it.
clashed with, he'll get an extra Force Bat on his side of the field. Then Queen Vampire
Sky's my
is going to be even more wards for Mango to deal with.
Oh, he got a second Bahamut.
But with Lightning Blast, and if he's got full followers on the field, that's going to close out the game.
Yep.
If Ghost Bomb doesn't have a way to clear the board. Revelation does a lot of damage, but it's not going to kill a Bahamut.
Yeah. I mean, he can't rely on Odin. Well, he could. Odin, Evolve, take out Sahak,
He's going to have to
Trade
heal
the
with
bat.
Temptress Vampire. That's
but
what's
the
going to...
Ouroboros in hand, yep. Tough situation here.
But he hasn't played, Mango has not played Ouroboros. He does not know that that's in his hand.
Oh, he's gonna heal. 6. Oh my god. 12 health to chew through. Can you even do that in a turn?
He's got Oracle. Mango has Oracle. That'll help him draw a card, and then he'll have another option if he wants to play Ouroboros or see what the next card is on top of his deck.
What a complex situation. We've got the self-healing on Ghost Bomb's Bloodcraft deck is just absolutely incredible. He's just been healing all game long.
Absolutely.
Decides to play the Ouroboros and goes for face. Gonna leave the Vampire Queen.
Most likely, banishing the
Or
Ouroboros
sorry,
is
the
going to
Temptress,
sound
yeah.
very tempting.
Yeah, banishing the Ouroboros. I mean, it's one... If you banish the Ouroboros, there's a chance that there's not Storm. He has Zell, but doesn't have Sahak. And Ayla only does 2... Ayla's not... Yeah, he could... He doesn't have Evolution Orb, so he can't give it Storm. Oh, I don't know.
It's
I
difficult.
think the
It's
banish is
difficult.
the right choice, but does Ghost Bomb realize the situation?
Mm.
Because Ghost Bomb has no idea what's in the hand.
He has to clear the board. That's what he has to do.
Mhm.
Otherwise, Lightning Blast, direct attack to the face. Even if he uses the wards from Queen Vampire, it's not going to be enough to protect against Lightning Blast. So banishing the Ouroboros, it's so tempting. It's so
the
tempting,
only
but I
play,
think
I
you're
feel
right.
like.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's the only play, but he could be very tempted into pushing the wrong decision here. Oh!
Sleipnir, the battlefield's ours.
Okay. I like that he still has one Evolution Orb, because that means whatever happens in this turn, he has a fighting chance, right? Bahamut comes down and removes the 2.
A true warrior of Valhalla.
So that's one beefy follower that he has to deal with.
He
but
needs
still,
to watch out for Lightning Blast, because wards won't help him still. Oh my gosh.
The second
Oh my
revelation would
God.
clear Bahamut.
Joy and grief.
Oh no. He's going to be able to clear it with an Evolve Orb.
He knows he has to clear the board every time.
Yeah.
I think he anticipates the Lightning Blast is coming, for sure.
He also has Dark Angel, so that can give him 3 Evolution Orbs, but I don't know if you play a Dark Angel, that's the only card you're playing for that turn. I don't know if he's going to have space. There's Sahak Wheel. Oh, but there's no...
He does have some healing available with the Wardrobe Rider. It's tough. Oh man, it's so tough. It's going to come down to these last few draws that the players are able to make. Or
Lightning Blast is such a key card
Lightning
right
Blast
now.
is absolutely key.
It's such a... Just if you... Every time you play the Bahamut, you're just threatening. And it's going to keep getting rid of the wards. And then a Lightning Blast on the next turn.
Fighting is so cruel.
Interesting. In the Bahamut, just to swing on one of the wards.
I can't keep relying on you, Dragon.
Still,
He's putting cards on the table so that he can swing lethal even with these...
New world is our
Oh, that
desire.
gave him the opportunity to play Angel?
that's going to evolve into taking on the Sahak Wheel.
This blade is our future.
Such pity.
Oh my god. There's
Oh,
2
man.
damage.
There's Grimnir
No!
closing out the game.
Oh my god. And I mean, it was only a matter of time, to be fair. It was only a matter of time before that happened, right?
Both players, I think, were waiting for that card. An
Yeah.
absolute staple in everyone's deck at this point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What a close series, and kind of a heartbreaking way to lose it as well. Bloodcraft and maybe informing us a little bit more of the issues that these decks have. There was so much self-healing, but there
Right.
just doesn't seem to be an impactful enough card in the late game that Ghost Bomb drew. There was no real way. I mean, constantly throwing Bahamut onto the field, throwing Ouroboros. It just seemed to be on the side of Mango. Constant threats, turn after turn after turn, while Ghost Bomb was constantly on the back foot.
If Ghost Bomb and Bloodcraft aren't able to finish it off super early, then the Bloodcraft deck doesn't really have a way to deal with those really beefy cards that Dragoncraft is throwing out. So real tough. Well played to both players.
All right. Here it is. Cure Mango up 1.
Prepare for defeat.
Mother, father.
Cure Mango could take this away. Prince of Darkness in a Bloodcraft deck, something I've never seen before. Typically, that's a Havencraft play.
The Ghostbound Sexton.
But I guess Dire Bond, Prince of Darkness could be a great combo, being able to draw an extra card each turn and having 2 of the Satan cards available to you.
The difficulty is how is he going to get up to the 10 play points against Shadowcraft these days that are very fast moving.
Right.
Thinking very hard about the mulligan.
Thinking very hard. I have a feeling like Bloodcraft is going to want to be as aggressive as Shadowcraft, dealing as much damage to face as possible, really putting aggressive pressure on the map.
Temptress Vampire is available. Another Dire Bond.
End
Hungry
of
Horde.
the graves!
There's a lot of options for Kirimango to play here in his opening hand. He's got some pretty good... He's going to have cards to play, but he doesn't have late game options necessarily.
Ghost Town Sexton is a really great card with the Shadow Reaper combo. Typically, when a follower is banished, it's not going to give the buff to Shadow Reaper. We saw that with the Ghosts earlier today. But Ghost Town Sexton makes it so that any card that's banished is actually destroyed. It's a very great combo.
It's very strong, and I wonder if that's ever going to... I mean, it's already dead, but if there's ever a situation in Kirimango's deck where that would be relevant. Gonna actually play that Dire Bond. And I kind of like it. Early on, you want to draw into options. You have more Vampiric Kisses. Oh, God.
Oof. Already tons of pressure coming out from the Shadowcraft deck.
You don't really want to kill it, but you kind of have to. I mean, you can opt to continue to take 3 damage or kill it and take 4 damage next turn, I suppose.
He does have the first evolve point right now.
It's going to take it down. Kill it and then rush the Lich. Heal in the meantime.
Pretty
What
good
a
trade for
great card.
4/5 into 4/4.
Yeah. A great card there for Ghost Bomb, and you can see exactly why he would include it in the deck.
What are you hiding inside?
Prince Catacomb on 3. Interesting. Is he swinging for face?
Gotta take
I
what
suppose.
opponents you get.
There's still so much healing available for Ghost Bomb. With Dire Bond and the other, and Vampiric Kiss, among others, swinging for face is a really difficult decision to make.
So we're in a situation here where is he going to play Blood Moon with the last 3? He's got Belphegor in hand, but you definitely don't want to Belphegor too carelessly. Hungry Horde it is.
What a terrifying card. Every time that comes out, it's such a beast to deal with.
Dance, dear bones of white.
So much more to chew through right now, and I think that Ghost Bomb is really needing to look for some answers now. You're getting up to the 6 play point territory.
With
You feel
no
up a good
real
amount.
AoE clear in his hand either.
There it is.
Getting rid of the zombies, very good play there.
Hungering Horde has come into kind of really effective use twice now in this particular game, but he's still kind of, again, much in the same way in the last game, he's still definitely on the back foot.
Definitely. I see what you're saying about him responding to Cure Mango instead of him making the plays and leading the tempo of the game himself.
The bones
Nice.
embrace
This might be it. He gets a little bit of healing, puts a not so dangerous follower on the board, and there's no evolution orbs for Cure Mango. Temptress Vampire as well. Coming up, I think he's going to be able to live until that point. A very annoying card there, Lurching Corpse.
Very annoying. Very formidable. And with Soul Conversion and the ghosts coming out from Phantom Howl next turn, Cure Mango looks like he only's got 2 cards in his hand, which Ghost Bomb might be thinking he has the advantage, but Soul Conversion, that's a lot of face damage with the ghosts, and being able to destroy one of them to draw more cards, that's going to be an advantage that Ghost Bomb can't see right now.
It's like
Oh,
gold to
okay.
me.
He had the Blood Moon, so he's going to play the Belphegor.
Drawing even more cards.
Witness the power.
This is going to allow him to clear just a little bit.
He still has Dire Bond in his hand, or Unicorn Dancer even.
So I would imagine that this is just protection either one is going to be a good card to remove, but you can't remove both, or at least it's going to be tough. Oh, he's got Cerberus.
Yeah, none of the damage that Cure Mango has been able to throw out is sticking on Ghost Bomb. The heals are just insane.
There's a soul conversion. He's going to try to... Oh, it takes out the Unica. And he's going to be able to throw a skeleton into it.
Perfectly calculated, getting those 3 zombies right down to the 1 damage for the skeleton, able to finish off the Belphegor.
Double Cerberus as well. A second Belphegor coming out, but are you going to evolve this one as well? A second Blood Moon. And he's just continuing to keep himself in that range of health. He's healing a little bit, taking a little bit of damage, not really being able to swing face.
That's what Bloodcraft is best at, dancing around, going up and down constantly with your health bar and balancing that as well as Ghost Bomb's doing. That's the mark of a really great player who knows how to use the cards that's in his deck.
He's made it to turn 9, so that Temptress Vampire is on the table.
But even still, as I say that, Ghost Bomb hasn't been able to do any damage to face.
And that, I think, is a real big issue to look at here. Gonna push him under 10. So now it's 7 health. Oh, a Bahamut. And that, I feel like, was one of the big things that was missing before.
Your life to me.
Healing 5. Was having a late game option. There's no rush, there's no evolve warp. This draw is so important for Cure Mango right now.
Attendant of Night.
Phantom Howl is going to be able to get rid of 2 cards if he opts to use it, but I don't know if that's the answer. I mean, it's probably a combination of...
It might be all he's got.
Yeah,
he could summon both Cerberus and Phantom Howl,
Mhm.
do as much damage as he possibly could, but then that's a lot of damage that Ghost Bomb has on his side of the field that he's going to be taking directly to face.
Yeah. This is going to be tough. There's not necessarily Storm on the field here for Ghost Bomb. He has the Queen Vampires for ward. He has Bahamut for some kind of board clear, which would be great. But there is a way for Cure Mango to clear and take minimal damage.
He's got to trade into those followers. He's got to get them off the board.
He can full clear 2 ghosts into the 4/1s, 3 ghosts into the Vampire, Cerberus, and then the direct damage for 2.
Give it to me again.
And then the Bahamut play next turn won't be as justified if there's not really something for it to destroy.
Wow. Oh, wow.
That is not what I was expecting.
He has the health enough. I mean, he's at 20.
I guess now a Bahamut play is not as justified, having to destroy 2 of your own followers or 1 of your own followers.
Oh no, and the ward comes up here.
But that's going to be devastating for the face damage and all the ghosts and storm that Shadowcraft is going to want to throw out, having those 2 wards to have to cut through.
Oh, and it's just a lesser mummy.
You gonna mess with me?
This is a really tough spot. We'll be able to take down Unica, and that's important not only for mitigating damage, but making sure that healing doesn't come through and make Cure Mango's job even more difficult than it already is.
Absolutely.
10 damage right here, and more ward. Gonna go for board clear. Maybe take down the Lich here. There's no more options for Mango.
He's going to have 1 card in his hand to deal with his massive board that Ghost Bomb has on his side of the field.
Oh no!
Ghost Bomb has done it. He's stuck out.
The Blood Craft. You can't kill it. You can't kill him. You can't kill the Bloodcraft, and Cure Mango is gonna have to tap out. Ghost Bomb just constantly healing, and he had just a combination of Dire Bond and then Blood Moon, Vampiric Kiss.
Definitely one of the best Bloodcraft decks that I've seen played.
Mhm.
He was in that perfect balance of keeping his health exactly where he needed to be with Blood Moon, still getting the effects from Vengeance,
Mhm.
and Belphegor getting to summon a strong follower, drawing more cards, getting more options,
Mhm.
and maintaining board pressure.
I feel like one of the big difficulties there is it's such a long game that you have to play against Bloodcraft,
Mhm.
you know, because they're constantly just like you're almost at lethal for so long. And you know, to be fair, I feel like for Cure Mango, if he had probably gotten the more appropriate options earlier on, it would have been very different. One of the things about that Shadowcraft deck is it didn't seem to take a lot of kind of big play point followers that could really kind of shift the game state to his favor. And I think he started having a hard time once there was just a Temptress Vampire in play, a Queen Vampire
Those
in play.
wards to have to deal
Yeah.
with and the healing.
Yeah.
Going
It
into
really-
game 3, Cure Mango, Ghost Bomb 1-1. The next game will decide who advances to the finals, and has a chance to earn those vials and be the first weekly champion of the NGE Shadowverse Open.
Moving on now to a Dragoncraft deck against Cure Mango. Again playing his Shadowcraft deck. There's Unica.
We've seen how much pressure that Shadowcraft can put on the board. It could be too much for a Dragoncraft to handle.
The turn 1 and turn 2 play, not really super comfortable for Cure Mango.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to put him in this awkward situation where if you do want to spend your play points, it's just not going to be a super... I mean, you get a 1-1 Shadow Reaper, no followers on your board to buff it up.
Right, he's going to elect just to end his turn right there.
He has to pass.
Demonstrating self-control, I think. Didn't want to waste his win condition, that really strong Reaper that's going to be coming out on the field. Turn 3 Attendant of the Night, great play, and he can follow it up with a turn 4 Necro Assassin.
Mm-hmm. The situation is troublesome, however, for Cure Mango because he's already going to take another 2 down to 16 health against a Dragoncraft deck. And you see cards like Forte just sitting there. And you know that there's some big storm options.
Interesting that Ghost Bomb elected to attack into the Attendant of the Night. I think he was anticipating the Necro Assassin play. And so now, though Lich has to attack into the ward, taking 2 damage for free, destroying the ward for sure, but Necro Assassin's also not getting a really great, cost-efficient 4-point play right there.
Would have definitely been ideal to be able to Necro Assassin and kind of have the Lich come up as a result of that.
But Zombie Party's in his hand. He could do 3 damage to Grimnir and then 4 to face if he wanted to do that. Followed up by another
Four to face
Ghost
is
Town.
interesting. Unica is at this particular spot where 4 to face becomes 2 to face if you choose not to remove Unica.
Very true.
Ghost Town. Gonna evolve it and still get 4 to face. Spends the orb in order to earn that.
And that's the tempo going in favor of Cure Mango.
Which has been very important. I mean, we see that Cure Mango seems to be grabbing a foothold on this game, but you can't forget that Ghost Bomb is running Ramp Dragon. That early game advantage was only given by happenstance of the draw.
Absolutely. And Draconic Fervor right there in turn 5. Getting the orb and drawing the cards, healing, sure, but there's 8 damage directly to face that you're staring at. So definitely a difficult decision to make playing
Possibly
Draconic
10.
Fervor. Possibly 10 with an evolve point if you wanted to use that. Phantom Howl also an option. That he'll get 3 ghosts plus an evolve point if he wants to use it on one of the ghosts. It's a lot of damage for that 1 Draconic Fervor.
Going for Erd.
Typically, Erd is, we see that used with Mordecai a lot because it destroys Mordecai. Summons the destroyed Mordecai, and then Mordecai's ability activates, and he summons himself.
You get 2 Mordecais.
You get
for
2
the price
Mordecais.
of 1. Well, for the price of Erd, I suppose.
For the price of Erd. Yeah.
For the price of Mordecai plus Erd, you get another Mordecai.
I'll live again.
Sybil on the field will give a little bit of healing. And again, we talked about this. It's looking fairly even right now, but quickly as we approach the 9 and 10 play points area, Dragoncraft is going to slowly be able to claw their way back in. And it's a question of board control right now.
With Prince of Darkness in hand, if he wants to use that card, he's going to have to really get some great board control next turn with the followers, and I think it's going to be difficult if Shadow Reaper comes on the field or Ishtar next turn with the zombies that are going to be so difficult to deal with.
Shadow Reaper.
I think an easy decision to decide to trade Erd into Civil, but he's going to go for face. I think he smells blood in the water. He really wants to get that direct damage. Necro Assassin, always a good card to play.
Want to play?
Oh, wow. He evolves it while it's in... I don't... Was there really a benefit? I guess he can have 2 evolves now. He evolved this turn. That means next turn he's going to have an evolve.
Evolve as well, while keeping the Reaper alive because of the ambush.
Another Sybil.
Ready to witness my true strength?
A dance to make the world blue.
That's going to give 1 more point of damage to the Shadow Reaper.
And 3 points of health to Ghost Bomb. Lurching Corpse Necro Assassin would clear out the entire board.
And that's interesting as well because it'll give perhaps 2 extra damage for the Shadow Reaper.
It'll give 1 extra damage.
One extra.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So a good play there, but still with Bahamut and then the Fortes that are going to be coming out after Bahamut. Very scary hand that Ghost Bomb is sitting on. If he doesn't play it exactly perfectly, it's going to be a difficult game for Ghost Bomb to win. 1 slip up.
There it is. 6 damage on the Shadow Reaper. But we're at 10 play points. Oh, he's drawing for more options.
Trying to get more damage on.
Oh my god. This is very close. This is a key turn for Ghost Bomb. He has a handful of options here.
I think Bahamut is the option he's got to go with. How else is he going to destroy the Shadow Reaper?
There it is. Destroys the Shadow Reaper. There's still Ishtar. But drawing into that Skull Beast is not really what you want at this point.
And that's 7 damage right there.
Oh my god, yes, you're right. Of course, the Evolve.
I'll show you.
Very well played. Cure Mango hanging on to the ghosts until the very last second.
Cure Mango has just been absolutely decimating.
He's made it all the way to the finals.
Cure Mango going to move on 2-1, and that means that we have our finalists decided. So Cure Mango, I mean, he's
showing us why Shadow is such a strong deck right now.
Pushed through a lot of the earlier rounds as well. And I feel like out of all the Shadowcraft decks we've seen so far, his seems to be the most solid, the most well-rounded. Again, we talked about how late game options weren't really a big thing for his deck. But in that scenario, he just happened in the last 2 turns, I feel like, gained enough of a foothold to finally swing in that Shadow Reaper play. Incredibly intricate. I really like the way that he employed using the Necro Assassin as well as the Lurching Corpse.
Destroying your own followers,
Exactly.
buffing up your own Shadow Reaper. Really strong.
And I think just really smart foresight as well in terms of just evolution orb timing. Just like trying to make sure that he's optimizing the situations that could come down the line. So let's take a look at the bracket and see how this tournament has shaped up so far. We've eliminated many participants and now are down to the last 2, Pot Washer and Cure Mango. Of course, congratulations to Sky Summon and Ghost Bomb for taking 3rd, 4th place. Each of them will receive 5,000 red vials. But Pot Washer and Cure Mango are now going to face off to try to see who is going to earn the first weekly champion title, the NGE Shadowverse Open.
Those vials are looking real tasty right about now. It's going to be a battle for the ages, the last one of the day.
All right, we're going to figure out how we're going to get into this last lobby.
I'm real disappointed that the Ramp Dragon has not been doing well against Shadow as I would have hoped, because that's my favorite deck. I feel like that's the most fun to play. Actually, it's so satisfying getting to play those high cost cards and everything. But Shadowcraft is able to really, I would say that I think it takes more skill to play Shadowcraft, knowing when to play Reaper, when to play Catacomb to get the most effect out of those cards, to buff up the Shadow Reaper in itself.
Yes, Shadow Reaper is actually, I feel like, such a key card now, even more so than before. A lot of the new cards, in addition to new cards added to Shadowcraft, I think really assisted Shadow Reaper into being a very solid pick, and one that you can take advantage of commonly enough that you end up in kind of interesting situations where you can play these lines of play that involve sacrificing your cards and making sure you have removal at the same time. Just got insane value off of it. And Cure Mango against Potwasher is going to have to be this is going to be interesting, because you're now up against kind of the Forest Craft deck is what we've been watching for Potwasher for a lot of the times. How is that matchup going to play out?
Against the Shadowcraft decks, it's going to be a real tough matchup. It's going to come down to both players are going to have to plan out their hands perfectly. Saving the cards they need till the very end, saving the Roach combos until when you need it most for the board clear, I'd say in this instance. But it's going to be real difficult for a Roach combo to get the most out of a board clear if that's what you need to do with Prince Catacomb. For example, if you're destroying your followers, clearing the board of wards, but then the skeletons just keep coming, it's going to be real difficult to deal with.
I agree. So we'll see Potwasher facing off against Mango, and it's, whoever actually takes this tournament, it's been an incredibly interesting ride. I think a lot of expected situations occurred based on the statistics that we had. Lots of people coming in with Shadowcraft decks. We saw so much of it. I was kind of hoping that we would still see a little more Runecraft. I was hoping that we would see Havencraft be a little more successful.
Yeah, we didn't see any Runecraft.
I really wanted to see somebody trying the Mutagenic Bolt iteration of Daria.
Yeah, definitely wanted to see that.
I don't know if anybody would be willing to take that risk. So let's go ahead and jump into the final match here. They're ready to go. They're loading into the game lobby. Cure Mango versus Potwasher.
Gonna be a doozy.
We've come a long way. It's been an incredibly long tournament.
It's been a long day. Both of these players have battled through the whole tournament. 256 entries we had, and these are the final two out of 256 players. We're going to see Potwasher's Shadowcraft going up against Cure Mango's Dragoncraft.
Interesting opening hands.
Dragon Emissary is a card you sometimes see with the Ramp Dragon deck. Being able to reduce the cost of a follower is obviously great, but is that what you want as opposed to another Dragon Oracle? Another opportunity to ramp?
He certainly got the Dragon Oracle in hand, and I believe that's going to be the two-turn play here. Almost certainly. There it is. Going to push him up to 3 play points.
But Potwasher was able to have a great 1-play and a 2-play, getting followers on the board.
To top it all off, there's Cerberus at the end of this, but I can imagine a situation where Potwasher is going to run out of gas real quick. If that ever happens, I think that he's in a really troubling spot. Cure Mango got to play the Grimner really early, and I think that that's a great choice there. Any kind of ward, any kind of ability to stop the damage from coming in, and a second Cerberus as well. Turn 6 is going to be a really big turn, I feel like, for Potwasher.
Absolutely.
He's committing everything to the board, and Potwasher's going to get to turn 6 pretty quick, but I think Cure Mango, by way of pump, he's going to make it to Breath of the Salamander first.
And that's going to mean the end of all of Potwasher's aggression with these followers that only have 2 defense.
He's committed all the cards.
He's committed all the cards. Obviously, the Dragon Warrior, very threatening card to deal with. Trading an Evolved Cerberus, though, into that's very cost-efficient. Cerberus will still be alive with 4-1, but I think he's choosing to go for face.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He knows that he's on a timer. And really, that might have been the risk of saying, oh god, Breath of the Salamander is entirely a possibility. I just have to try to hope that it's not. He's not going to play it.
And the last 3 cards that Cure Mango has drawn have been Bahamut.
Sorry, gotta go.
Yeah,
Ready to
that.
witness my true strength?
As long as we've got each other.
But he's still able to gain board control with a really great.
It's getting really close to
Play there.
lethal. It's
Mhm.
getting really close to lethal. You play Cerberus, you have 2 instances of direct damage now.
All he needs is 1 mummy in his hand, 1 evolved mummy.
Feeling hungry?
And that could be it. That's going to end his turn, bring it over to turn 7 with Sibyl, a great draw there. Being able to use Dragon Emissary at the same time as well.
The board clear is incredibly important right now.
Lewis water.
There's Sybil. Gonna give a little bit of healing, and that's a breath of fresh air for
Absolutely.
Cure Mango.
You have angered
He's going to
me.
clear the board
A dance to make the
and
world
give him the
move.
chance to attack for face for 4 damage.
Sorry.
Not to mention an extra play orb, so he'll have a chance to play Bahamut next turn if that's what he elects to do.
Yes. Which is actually going to be a very... There are a lot of important decisions that needs to... A 3rd Cerberus!
Cure Mango has drawn 3 Bahamuts, and Potwasher has drawn 3 Cerberus.
Want to play?
Oh, man.
He's gonna evolve.
Haven't let loose lately. Tear to shreds. Arr!
Interesting.
Almost
Gonna
come
go
to
for the trade. So no evolution orbs available.
For either player now. He's got another
There's so
Sibyl.
much Coco and Mimi in the hand, I can't
Oh,
believe.
yeah. So many Cocos and Minis. Mimis.
Look how sad Coco is. I never noticed that.
It's kind of sad.
Mimi is just angry.
It's the eyebrows, really.
There it is, the Breath of Salamander. And I can really feel like... A Storm card? Nope.
Hmm.
This is tough. We'll be able to take down the evolved... there it is.
Is God's word.
Angel of
Good
the
play
Wind.
there.
It's the pits for you.
Wow, is he going to spend all this direct damage here?
It's the pits
Really didn't want to keep Sibyl on the field for the extra 3 health it'll gain next turn.
Hmm.
all must come to an end.
And then... Oh, there's another Sybil. Or Bahamut. Either one, either or. What a tragic way for Potwasher to go out. Oh my god.
I'm coming.
He's got 5.
Still, I don't think he has
9.
enough.
Yep.
I'm leaving.
Oh my god. It was just the healing from Sybil. Just by the
Yeah.
care on the chinny chin chin.
Sybil of the Waterworm, able to really come and clutch that game with Cure Mango drawing 3 Bahamuts and 3 Cerberuses in the hand of Shadowcraft.
I think it was...
Really interesting draws all around.
When you go that hard into aggro, there is the tendency to play all the cards in your hand to try to fill out the board. But in that case, it was just... There was so much good, efficient evolve options on the side of Mango that was able to bring that match into... Bring
It
that
could
game
come back
into
to
control.
deck composition, having too many 2-cost followers. And when your hand is full of 2-cost followers and it comes to turn 4 and turn 5, there's pressure to want to use all your play points. And when you empty your hand, you're really susceptible to a breath of the Salamander, for instance.
Mhm.
Time for me to prove myself.
All right, so Cure Mango is up 1.
Father, come on.
And we're coming down to the wire here. I like that Potwasher swapped up the decks. Oh, man. 2 servers, 2 fairy circles. There's so many repeat draws. It's a pretty good opening hand for Forest. Fairy Circle is going to allow you to fill out the board. Unfortunately, there's no Ancient Elf. Would have been a very good opener for Potwasher there.
Agreed, absolutely.
God Nature's Guidance.
Get some fairy, get some more fairies in your hand. An Ancient Elf would absolutely be a breath of fresh air right now.
Hey, let's play.
But there's not much aggression in the hand of Cure Mango. He's going to have to play the board clear game if he really wants to get ahead, I think.
Lurching Corpse gets dropped. Skull Beast will trade. And Shadowcraft has some really good cheap followers to use against Forestcraft just because of the nature of their 1-2 drops. This makes it, in general, uncomfortable for Forestcraft in the early stages.
Do you want an Elf Child, May? Take the 50-50 chance?
If you did Elf Child, you would probably swing with the fairy on the 1-2 and then Elf Child to see what happens. But still, just a very awkward situation, I feel like.
Let's play.
Go for face.
He's got the mummy in his hand. That's, of course...
The thing about the situation is Shadowcraft is definitely more adept, I feel like, at going face here. And if you don't have the options to board control, like what is the future that Potwasher is looking for here? Fina evolve, hope the Goblin Mage brings something. He's really just waiting on draws.
Right, yeah. Both players are trying to get their hands to exactly the right point where they want them to be.
Whereas if you look on the hand for Cure Mango, you got the Necro Assassin with a Lurching Corpse that can do really well. You also have Cerberus that can make these 2-2, 1-2s, 1-1s more value than they are normally. I think there's a very clear game plan for Cure Mango, whereas Potwasher just drawing the Silver Bolt, definitely not relevant at this point in time. There are more pressing matters. I think Potwasher is being put into a very awkward spot here. Oh my gosh.
And Cure Mango as well, a Necro Assassin Lurching Corpse combo into an Elf Child May and a Fairy is not the best use when it can destroy Bahamut if that were on the side of the field.
And this is why it hurts Forestcraft so much, because in typical Forestcraft lists, you know, there's not necessarily a big body that you're getting rid of. You're just trying to save face damage and make it awkward for the Forestcraft player to play Roach.
Right.
Stay away, play around White Wolf, that kind of thing.
Hey, let's play. You're mean.
Evolve is available now. Shadow Reaper. That could get really dangerous here.
I think Soul Conversion could be a great card in this instance. Using it on Lurching Corpse, being able to draw 2 cards, which I think could make the difference into how this game's going to go. Those two cards that he draws.
Necro Assassin is going to be the choice. Didn't opt to play the Shadow Reaper. Ooh, got to do a lot of board clear here. Now just 1 fairy remaining, and you see this awkward situation where Forestcraft is left with 3 cards in hand. Really not where you want to be. Fina Evolve, maybe. There's the Ancient Elf.
There's the Ancient Elf.
Would have really loved to have that earlier, even though I suppose a Necro Assassin was going to be primed to remove it.
Still, a 5-cost Fina Evolve, one of the best
Blow you away.
first turn evolves that you could hope for.
Draws a Lily.
So quiet. Time to go a little wild.
Getting Coco and Mimi in hand. It's gonna come real in handy. Come really in handy when you have the Shadow Reaper on the field coming up in a few turns.
So Cerberus is out here.
I think he's deciding whether or not to evolve and trade into a Fina.
I mean, yeah. You lose a Cerberus, you do 1 damage to the Fina. You save yourself from 5 damage to the face, though.
I haven't let loose lately.
It's a call that Cure Mango is willing to make.
Play is okay.
Probably smart. I think health to the face is so important in this situation, especially if you don't really have ward.
I'm the Force Protector.
Gonna bounce and try to pull more cards from the Goblin Mage.
Ooh, sparkly stuff. Gimme.
Another Elf Child.
Almost positive that
And this is really bad because Potwasher drew 2 Silver Bolts. That's the mega don't want.
yeah, very much so. I'm almost positive that Death's Breath is going to come out next turn.
Gonna use the Evolve preemptively on Ancient Elf. Gonna anticipate some kind of maybe counter-evolve play here. But I feel like with Coco and Mimi in hand, it's highly likely that the Evolve will do enough damage as it stands.
The zombie plus Mimi will do enough damage for sure. But he's going to just leave the zombies on the field as is.
Crystalia Tia.
He could Nature's Guidance the Goblin Mage and get another...
I think this is a play. You Elf Child, see which one it hits. Tia, and then Snowman one of them. And and then you can trade appropriately. But is that worth it? Because your Ancient Elf is about to be removed.
Right, you've got to get the wards off the field, though, and I think that's his only option. He doesn't have another evol point for Fina. He's going to have to get those wards off the field if he wants to open up for some face damage later on in the game.
Things are looking really uncomfortable right now for Potwasher. Cure Mango, I think, brought a very solid list here with a lot of great options. Going to play the Fina and leave one of the wards on the table and saving the Crystal Lily, which I think is very smart. Got 2 more. He can buff up that zombie to have 6 damage. 8 with Evolve. Oh, he's going to remove the ward.
Using both of them on the elf.
Life's fate is that.
2 orbs spent to destroy a 5/4 ancient elf. Not a bad trade.
Running away is come on!
Cerberus with a big play here. Elf Child. Oh, man. If you Lily, then you Elf Child. You can wipe the board, but is that worth it? There is 15 shadows for that Elf Queen to eat up. 15 shadows.
That's a lot. That's a lot of shadows. Yeah, I think Potwasher is deliberating whether or not to turn Cerberus or the zombie into the snowman. I think what you were saying...
Probably going to be the zombie to the snowman. That
Then
way
the-
you can double Elf Child and make sure that you're done with everything. But the question is still, how are you going to go on the aggressive front and you're starting just to lose cards? Even your Silver Bolt is going to be doing a wet noodle's worth of damage.
Absolutely.
I feel slow.
With so few cards in the hand at 9-cost Silverbolt is real hard to justify playing.
Oh, and another Death Spirit.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
A Shadow Reaper would be really well. He's going to have to clear the wards, which means Shadow Reaper is going to get stronger.
And the big thing here is Evolution Orbs. The real only surprise, and it's not even really a surprise, but the big danger here is the double Coco's in hand. That means the Shadow Reaper can do a ton of burst, but the Elf Queen will be able to kind of pick himself up after that, and shadows are still going to be increased here. There's basically no way that Potwasher is not going to get a full heal. So unless there can be kind of, I would imagine, 30+ damage in 2 turns here from Cure Mango, it's going to be tough. Especially with the Elf Queen coming in as a 6/6 and he's going to be able to remove something. Silver Bolt to draw. He's got 2 Sylvan Justices. Still not looking great.
Real inconvenient for those zombies that have 3 defense, unfortunately. That brings one of them to 2, so Sylvan Justice will get some use next turn.
You gonna mess with me?
Destiny calls.
He's got 5 damage here. Add to 9 damage. Oh my gosh. 10?
Yep, 10 damage. 11 now. If he wanted to, well, he's only got one more Coco.
And I think the next turn kind of has to be the Elf Queen here. Some combination of the Elf Queen and Sylvan Justice. Ancient Elf.
I lost.
Oh no, and
That's
Potwasher
Potwasher
taps
tapping out.
And of course, there's so much damage on the table.
That was a
Not
real
being
formidable
able to-
board that
yeah,
Cure Mango was
Not
able.
being able to clear the Shadow Reaper, I think, was a big nail in the coffin there. And that's the big thing I think about Elf Queen as a card, is you can get so much healing, but you can't overheal, you know? And even if you overheal, it kind of... you still have a Shadow Reaper that's doing, what, 8 damage after you clear the ward? There's just so many difficult things that you have to fight through, so... Wow, what a match.
Really well done for Cure Mango, making it all the way to first place. 30,000 vials coming at you, dude.
30,000 vials for first place. He gets the flare, and Cure Mango will be the first direct invite to the playoffs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the brackets to see the path these players took. And I can't think of a more appropriate individual. Cure Mango, a big streamer, kind of consistently streaming in the Shadowverse kind of scene, and to be able to have such a great performance in his first tournament
Absolutely.
is really nice to see. A no-name in the community waiting their way out of the grueling bracket that is the NGE Shadowverse Open. 2-0 victory over Potwasher. and Potwasher had a great journey himself, taking that Forest Craft deck real far.
Really far.
Just going to show you the strength of having this new setup of taking out Tia, having Lily, having Aaron, having the Elf Queen, the Jungle Warden as well. We saw some Jungle Warden play. So it's been a really interesting. It's been a really
And
interesting
congratulations to all the other players in the top 16 who earned points, who earned prizing, who are able to clinch victory in this first place. 30,000 vials, of course. Second place, 10,000 vials. Third and fourth, 5,000 red vials. And everyone gets that emblem. That's got to feel good coming home with something. Overall, a fun day.
Lots of Shadowverse. There were a lot of games, a lot of chaos, a lot of craziness. You guys participating. I have to give a big shout out to everybody who joined up to play in the NGE Shadowverse Open, as well as all of you guys watching the stream, watching the Shadowverse Open on its inaugural broadcast.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. First time.
We're obviously looking to grow the NGE Shadowverse Open and keep developing as the community develops as well. And for Sterling and I, we're also looking to learn more and more about Shadowverse. Obviously, counting is a big thing for us. And
Counting.
Counting.
Back to third grade for us, man.
I think I might have to bring a calculator on the table. All right, so if you want to talk about anything Shadowverse related, as well as just send us comments about the Shadowverse Open, about JCG, about your favorite cards, your favorite decks, about your favorite players even. If you want to talk about Potwasher and Cure Mango, want to congratulate Cure Mango, make sure you @Watch NGE for us on Twitter. And we'd love to read through those responses, and maybe we'll poke you about them as well.
Yeah, totally. We'd love to hear from you guys. Always open for feedback and discussions.
Amazing. I'm actually so happy that Cerberus was in the winning game.
Very.
Talking
yeah.
about it.
Cerberus was all throughout the tournament. All throughout the tournament. And if you want to sign up for next week's tournament, be sure to check out the website shadowverse.nge.io.
Fantastic. So, we've had a fun evening with you guys here at the NGE Shadowverse Open, and we'll be able to join back up with you guys and have another great tournament next week. Make sure you tune in for that. That's Sterling. I'm Rainey, and we'll see you guys next time.